The senior year classroom was as stifling as a pressure cooker. The old electric fan whirred noisily, blowing the mountains of books piled on the desks. Thud, thud, thud. With familiar sounds of leather soles hitting the floor, Professor Yang walked into the classroom with a stern face and smacked a stack of papers onto a desk with a slap. Pull yourselves together. Professor Yang was their senior class 7's homeroom teacher, wearing gold-rimmed glasses and always sporting an impassive face, never indulging in any small talk or smiles. In such a special period as the senior year, he laid down strict regulations in every aspect. The school required commuting students to arrive by 7:20 a.m. He demanded 7 a.m. The homeroom teacher signaled the class representative to distribute the papers, and soon the white sheets were being passed around the room. Xiang Befe also received his paper and glanced at the score. 43 points. I am very dissatisfied with the results of this mock exam. Extremely dissatisfied. The college entrance exam is only 2 months away. Look at what you have scored. How many times have I gone over the key points, yet you still get them wrong? Many of you have regressed. The top students scored 10 points less than those in other classes. How do you expect to get into college with this attitude? The homeroom teacher's voice was filled with irritation. He couldn't talk enough about the college entrance exam, always emphasizing its importance before every class. The college entrance exam is a major hurdle in your life. The college entrance exam will determine your fate. The college entrance exam can change your future. Thousands of candidates vie for a single narrow bridge, and only those who cross it are qualified to live in this world. The homeroom teacher spoke with such fervor that he seemed ready to grab the non-performing students by the ears and pour his words into them. However, before the college entrance exam, there is something even more important to do. The homeroom teacher changed tack and said aloud, "That is to awaken your very own system." Awakening system. The classroom buzzed with excitement as many students looked up in anticipation, some even whispering to each other, unable to hide their excitement. To awaken their own system was something everyone had dreamed of. They had waited so many years just for today's arrival. After this class, they would go downstairs to participate in the system awakening ceremony. The homeroom teacher snorted coldly and continued, "Only an excellent system can earn you bonus points in the college entrance exam and catch the eye of prestigious universities. Whether your awakened system is superior or inferior, good or bad, will determine your future." Sitting in the last row, Xiang Befe slouched slightly and started spinning his pen again. "This world has really gone mad," muttered Xiang Befe. That happened last week when he sat in his own classroom, looking at the ceiling fan overhead that creaked due to a loose screw. At that time, he wondered what would happen if the rapidly spinning ceiling fan suddenly fell down. Would it slice through the air, blood splattering 5 steps away, heads flying everywhere, or what? And then the ceiling fan really did fall. Fell on his head. When he woke up, he discovered that he had crossed over. He had crossed over into a very strange world. Many places in this world were just like Blue Star, as if it were a parallel universe with a similar education system and social structure, where everyone struggled for the college entrance exam during their student years. Except, the difference was, in this world, there was no dullness. Everyone had their own cheat codes. This place was full of spiritual energy, and everyone could possess special system cheat codes, using various systems to absorb the external spiritual energy to enhance their own strength. And during the 3rd year of high school, everyone had to undergo a special awakening ceremony to awaken their own system. The system one carried determined the course of their life. The scholar system could turn them into heavyweights in the academic world. The business system could let them lose 10 billion without batting an eye. The gourmet system could make them stand out in the catering industry. The sect system could allow them to establish a sect and become a regional overlord. In this world, the systems are no longer unique, but something everyone has. What people need to do is, according to the awakening system they've awakened to, make an effort to grow stronger, diligently complete system tasks, and fight for a bright and vast future for themselves. Systems, in this world, have suddenly become an overflowing disaster. The homeroom teacher was still emphasizing the importance of the awakening system and the techniques needed for awakening systems. Xiang Befe, on the other hand, was looking at the test paper he had just received, deep in thought. Written on the test paper was, Zhuzhou Joint College Entrance Examination, Mock Test, Year 3030. Comprehensive Ability Test for System Subjects, Paper A. In this world, there was no concept of countries, only the Zhuzhou Union. Hence, the test paper had become the Zhuzhou Union Unified Exam. As for system subjects, it was similar to the science and liberal arts comprehensive subjects on Blue Star. Only here, it was called System Comprehensive. System subjects specifically taught the basic knowledge about the systems in this world, helping everyone better understand the world of systems. This knowledge was something everyone had to master during their student days. Just like the first multiple-choice question. To date, the levels of systems awakened by humans are divided into 6 ranks. What is the third highest potential level of systems from the top? R grade, B, S grade, C, SR grade, D, SSR grade. Xiang Beifei chose B, but the answer was wrong. The correct answer is C. In their senior year of high school, everyone will awaken to their own system, but the potential of each person's system varies. The stronger the system, the more generous the rewards for completing tasks. So the level of the system is very important. When Beifei traveled to this world, he saw this question but did not understand the system-level division of this world, so he arbitrarily chose the S grade. In actuality, the talent grades of the awakened systems from lowest to highest are N grade, R grade, S grade, SR grade, SSR grade, UR grade. Xiang Beifei, stand up right now. Noticing Beifei's distraction, the homeroom teacher yelled out. Beifei's attention was pulled away from his paper, and with a sense of resignation, he stood up. Xiang Beifei, tell us what's going on with you. It's one thing to fail and hold back the class every time, but not knowing the answers to the test and still writing whatever comes to mind. Come on. Explain to everyone what did you write for the third short answer question. The homeroom teacher was glaring at Beifei furiously, as if he wanted to tear him apart. Beifei looked at the third short answer question. As we all know, besides oneself, no one else can see the system one has awakened. Therefore, after we have awakened a system, we must learn to keep it a secret and must not reveal our system to anyone. Now the question is, if someone finds out what our system is, what will be the consequence? Please give an example. Beifei glanced at the answer he wrote. If others find out what our system is, the consequences will be very serious because then we won't be able to show off anymore. This short answer question was worth 6 points, and Beifei got 0. The reference answer in the textbook is, once you reveal the unique features of your system, others will intentionally target your system, preventing you from completing the system's tasks, and the road to becoming a strong person will be extremely difficult. It's like awakening a negative emotion system, where upsetting others will strengthen yourself. Then, if your opponent knows about your system, they will not easily generate negative emotions for you to take advantage of during your interactions. Once more people know about your system, it will become useless. Therefore, keeping your system a secret is of great importance. That is the correct answer. However, when Xiang Beifei crossed over, he found himself in the middle of an exam. It happened to be April Fool's Day, and he thought the teacher had prepared such a test for the senior students to relax, so he casually gave a response. After the exam, he realized that this world had changed. It had become incredibly absurd. The class teacher, furious, read Xiang Beifei's answer aloud to the whole class, and everyone burst into laughter. This is a question that gives you points. You all got it wrong, and you still want to get into college? How many times have I told you, in the college entrance exam, 80% is based on fundamental knowledge. As long as you secure the basic points, getting into a key university is not a problem. Look at what you've done. Even the basics are wrong, and you still have the face to laugh at me. The class teacher lifted his glasses, glared angrily, and all the students quickly tried their best to suppress their laughter. Whatever the class teacher was saying after that, Xiang Befe was no longer listening. He was just staring at the previous question, lost in thought. As everyone knows, besides oneself, other people cannot see the system one awakens to. Can everyone really only see their own system and not others? Xiang Beifei pondered over this sentence, finding it very strange, and couldn't help but look up at the class teacher. Right above the class teacher's head, there was a system panel that read, Host, Yang Hua. Rank R, Master Dao System. Realm, Late-Stage Qi Controlling. This interface seemed to be displaying the class teacher's awakened system level and information. After the class teacher finished scolding the class, another line of text floated up. You criticized Xiang Beifei for being distracted. Teacher Prestige +1. You made the whole class quiet down. Teacher Prestige +1. Isn't it said that other people can't see one's system except oneself? Then why can I see other people's system panels? Xiang Beifei was very puzzled. He had been familiarizing himself with this world for the past week, and the more he understood it, the more he couldn't comprehend this point. Besides those students under 18 who had not yet awakened to a system, he had seen many people's system panels. Teachers from other classes, the bus driver, even the auntie selling breakfast had her own little food god system, with today's task being to earn 10 wealth value points for each bun sold, which could then be exchanged for corresponding rewards in the system mall. Systems in this world were as common as freebies, one per person, as if this place was a wholesale world of systems. He had confirmed that everyone could not see other people's systems, but he alone could. This also had a benefit. At least he would know why each person was doing something, and he was clear about the purpose of their anger, such as the class teacher currently criticizing a student. Class teacher Yang Hua was scolding Xiang Beifei's desk mate, Kong Shoin. Kong Shoin was a bottom of the class student, with an integrated score of 23 points, and his face was full of gloom as he was being scolded. Another line of text appeared on the system panel of teacher Yang Hua. You criticized Kong Shoin for failing in composite score, teacher prestige value +1. Yang Hua looked annoyed, as if he was frustrated with the student's lack of improvement. But there was a smile at the bottom of his eyes because he knew very well the purpose of his anger. His Master Dao system needed to accumulate teacher prestige value. Reaching 10,000 points would complete a task and earn him a soul-condensing pill to cultivate spiritual power. At that moment, teacher Yang Hua's system panel already had 9,997 teacher prestige points. Yang Hua's heart was racing with excitement. To accumulate these 10,000 teacher prestige points, he had been working hard for 2 whole months and 3 days. Finally, today he would complete his task. Yang Hua seemed impatient. Just 3 points? 3 more prestige points? Who should I scold next? Who would be a good choice to scold? His Master Dao system had many tasks, and when he normally scolded students, it would bring him prestige points which could enhance his power. His power had a significant correlation with his performance reviews and rewards. Unfortunately, each student could only add to his prestige once a day for a given incident, which made his prestige points rise very slowly. However, he could always find other flaws in his students to exploit. Today, Yang Hua had already scolded all the students he could. Now it was time to find another reason to continue scolding. He set his sights on Xiang Beifei, noticing that Beifei's hair on the sides was nearly touching his ears. Seizing the opportunity, he put on a stern face and scolded. Xiang Beifei, how many times have I said it? As a senior high school student, do not let your hair grow too long. You should maintain a standard buzz cut. What's with the length of your hair? I've said it so many times. A buzz cut looks sharp, helps you concentrate on your studies. Are you waiting for me to give you a haircut myself? You reprimanded Beifei, whose hair doesn't meet the standards, increasing teacher prestige value by +2. Yang Hua was overjoyed inside. His teacher prestige value had accumulated to 9,999 points. Reprimanded, Beifei felt somewhat helpless and muttered, "Looks like I'll have to get a haircut after school." Yang Hua saw Beifei's lips moving and, thinking Beifei was complaining, immediately took another opportunity. "Xiang Beifei, what are you mumbling? Are you dissatisfied with my teaching? If you're dissatisfied, you can go to another class. See if any other homeroom teacher would want you. What an attitude. Poor grades and still disobeying discipline. What can you do in the future like this? Befe opened his mouth, looking rather innocent. You reprimanded Befe for talking back, increasing teacher prestige value by +2. Even though Yang Hua was still keeping a stern face, his eyes were now filled with unparalleled excitement. He had reached 10,001 prestige value. At last, the task was complete. Yang Hua was in tears. Collecting the teacher prestige value had been way too difficult. He couldn't add prestige value again the same day for criticizing minor things he had already addressed, so he established various class rules, and every day he would creatively find faults with the students, giving them a scolding, nitpicking over the smallest issues. Of course, Yang Hua was selective about which students he scolded. He would investigate their family backgrounds. Students from families with SSR or higher-level system awakeners, he wouldn't dare to scold. He would even show them extra care. But students from ordinary families without high-level system backgrounds, he had no such reservations. Go over the test papers yourselves first. I'll explain them in a moment, Yang Hua hurriedly said, eager to claim his system task reward, as he had accumulated 10,000 prestige value. Befe was also curiously staring at homeroom teacher Yang Hua's system panel, which displayed a new message. You've completed the current task. Reward, 1 soul condensing pill. Would you like to claim your reward? Yes. Of course, yes. Yang Hua clenched his fist, almost roaring with excitement. System task confirmation, dispensing task reward. Yang Hua hummed a little tune, joyful at heart. Dispensing task reward. Yang Hua pauset. Who? Strange, why hasn't it been dispensed yet? Maybe his master Dao system needed time to confirm? No worries, just wait a bit longer. Task reward dispensing complete. It's complete. Yang Hua looked at his empty hands. Wasn't the system supposed to have dispensed the reward? Why did no soul condensing pill appear in his hands? Wait a minute, system. Where's my soul condensing pill? Yang Hua frantically checked his system. Reward dispensed. Please select your next task. Bullshit. When was it dispensed? Yang Hua slapped the desk, shouting furiously. Instead of thinking these words, this time he shouted them out loud, startling all the students. Teacher, what's wrong? The class president Zhu Jing asked with concern. Shut up. Yang Hua bellowed. Zhu Jing was utterly bewildered. Yang Hua quickly realized he had lost his composure and said in a hurried tone to the class, what I mean is, focus on your self-study. I need to deal with something concerning the awakening system in a moment, so everybody stay quiet. Yang Hua was so furious he could burst. After all the trouble of collecting prestige value for months by scolding students, it seemed as though the Master Dao system had swallowed it whole. He simply couldn't stand it. Enraged, Yang Hua stormed out of the classroom, intending to find a place where he could confront his system with what was really up. What's gotten into the homeroom teacher? Feels like he's just eaten a barrel of gunpowder. All the students began to discuss. Only Befe sat silently in the back row of the classroom, not participating. Gazing thoughtfully at his hand, there lay a brown pill. Exactly the soul-condensing pill that had just been on homeroom teacher Yang Hua's system task reward list. I really can get other people's quest rewards. How bizarre. Xiang Befe weighed the soul-condensing pill in his hand, his gaze flickering slightly for a moment, finding it quite strange. This wasn't the first time he had taken someone else's quest reward. In the morning, the auntie selling steamed buns had a task from the little food god system. Gather 5,000 wealth values to exchange for $5,000 and upgrade her shop. Xiang Befe bought 2 buns, which just helped her complete the task, but she found that after exchanging, the money was gone. The money mysteriously appeared in Xiang Befe's pocket. Because Xiang Befe bought 2 buns, he just happened to help the auntie complete her task. However, Xiang Befe still chose to discreetly drop the money on the ground and reminded the auntie that there was something on the ground, returning the money to her. Ever since he could see other people's systems, he found things were very off. When others were completing tasks issued by their systems, if the tasks involved Xiang Befe, or if Xiang Befe helped them complete the tasks, then the rewards issued by the systems ended up in Xiang Befe's hands. Just like Professor Yang's Master Dao system, when he criticized Xiang Befe, he gained prestige value for teachers, and when the task was completed, the rewards ended up with Xiang Befe. He didn't understand why this was happening, just felt like he had become an anomaly in this system world. Xiang Befe looked at the soul-condensing pill in his hand. Such a pill could enhance his spiritual power. Undoubtedly a great medicine, very rare for those cultivating spiritual power techniques. Then I might as well reluctantly accept it. Xiang Befe examined the soul-condensing pill and placed the pill into his pocket. The homeroom teacher always thought about scolding him to complete his own system tasks, and along the way, he always became the target of the homeroom teacher's tasks, grabbing some rewards. Shouldn't be anything wrong with that, right? He felt the real Master Dao system should be about educating people, not nitpicking and unfairly criticizing students. Although he had this peculiar ability, he still chose to use it selectively. There were some people's system rewards he would take and others he would not. Xiang Befe could refuse the money from the bun-selling auntie, but this kind of reward he felt completely justified in taking. Yang Hua's face was livid. He was almost driven mad by his own system. He let the students self-study for an entire class period while he kept questioning his own system, protesting about where his quest rewards had gone. But the system always coldly replied, "Reward has been issued. Please select the next task." Yang Hua was nearly at his breaking point. He understood he couldn't contend with the system because it was very rigid, wouldn't negotiate anything, and there was no chance of reconfiguring it, so he gave up and continued to choose the next task. The class period passed quickly. Yang Hua slammed his hand down on the desk and said, "Everyone, gather on the sports field. Get ready for today's awakening system ceremony." All the classmates got excited and rushed out of the classroom. The awakening system ceremony was a turning point in the life of every student taking the college entrance examination and was crucial in determining their future. Everyone hoped they would awaken a high-level system. Finally, the system awakening, Xiang Befe, what kind of system do you think you'll awaken? Shoin closed his book and turned to ask. Xiang Befe rested his chin on his hand. What kind of system would he awaken? He had never really considered this question. Actually, he thought that what system he awoke didn't matter. What systems others awoke was what's most important. Before Xiang Befe could answer, Shoin started talking to himself. "I'm not asking for much. Just to awaken an S-rank system would be enough. Then I wouldn't have to be scolded by the homeroom teacher every day. Haven't you noticed he always likes to pick faults with us too? If I awaken an S-rank system, let's see if he dares to scold me in the future." S-rank systems are quite rare, aren't they? Xiang Befe asked. Shoin nodded and said, "Yes, they say it's a 5% chance, usually not more than 3 per class every year." "What about people who have awakened an SR system?" Xiang Befe asked again. SR systems are as rare as phoenix feathers and unicorn horns, a 1 in 50,000 chance. The last time someone in our school awakened such a rare system was 5 years ago. That person was directly admitted to an elite university. Shoin spoke enviously of the system. If he could awaken such a powerful system, his future achievements would be limitless. Come on. Everyone has gone to the sports field. It's just us left." Shoin stood up and hurriedly urged Xiang Befe. Xiang Befe didn't linger any longer and followed Shoin to the sports field. The sports field was already packed with people. Not only students from the first and second year of high school, but also parents who had come especially to see their children's system potential. The awakening system, comparable to filling out college entrance preferences, was a life-changing event. Every parent constantly paid attention to it. They all hoped their children would awaken an R-level or higher system, which not only gave extra points in their college entrance exams, but also brightened their future prospects. Beifei Xiang and Shoin squeezed into their class lineup, where the class monitor Zhu Jing was maintaining order. The homeroom teacher, Yang Hua, stood in front of the line, lips pursed, face ashen. Seeing Beifei and Shoin arriving last filled him with anger once more. Normally, he would have scolded them by now to boost his own prestige value as a teacher. But with so many people around, Along with the presence of many parents, he restrained his anger. Befe glanced around. Most students had not yet awakened any system, yet the teachers and parents had. He briefly looked around, noticing the various systems in play. For instance, Befe's PE teacher had awakened the modesty system. He seemed to have just completed a task this morning. Yield PE class to the math teacher. Modesty points +2. No wonder what all the main subject teachers repeatedly said was, "Your PE teacher is busy. I'll take this class." The PE teacher always had something on every time his class was about to start. So approachable and empathetic, apparently it was because he had the modesty system and often willingly gave up his classes. Case solved. Then there was Beifei's physics teacher, who had astonishingly awakened the hypnosis system, and had also successfully completed a task in the last class. Successfully put 9 students to sleep, hypnosis value +9. The physics teacher's lectures were dry as dust, akin to chanting scriptures, and he liked to schedule his class right after lunch. His students struggled to stay awake during physics, believing they lacked a talent for the subject. Thinking about it now, the physics teacher was really crafty. "Hand over your phone." Just as Befe was pondering, the head disciplinarian suddenly barked at a senior student in front. The student reluctantly pulled out his phone. "I'm doing this for your own good. School time is for studying. How can you casually bring a phone to school? It can easily distract you from studying, and at your age, it's easy to be dazzled by all the flashy things online." The disciplinarian lectured the student earnestly. However, Befe saw the disciplinarian's system interface. Host, Zhao Gang. N-level confiscation system. Realm, late Qi controlling stage. You confiscated a student's phone. Confiscation value +1. Apparently, the disciplinarian liked confiscating students' phones purely for his confiscation system. This type of system, if not used as a city urban management officer, then serving as a school disciplinarian wasn't bad either. Of course, not all teachers had systems related to their professions. Some teachers' systems weren't connected to their jobs at all, like the Chinese teacher from the class next door, who had awakened the suffering system. Every loss he took made his spiritual power grow stronger. And the Chinese teacher turned out to be a late-stage spiritual power practitioner of the Qi-controlling realm. Everyone's awakened system ultimately aimed at increasing strength, and while some systems enhanced physical agility, speed, or strength, naturally there were also systems that boosted one's spiritual power, soul strength, and more. The more Beifei saw, the more fascinated he became. Every person in this parallel world had their own system, which determined their personalities and modes of action. Oftentimes, when people performed an action, they were doing it to complete a system task rather than acting on their own volition. Sometimes when you saw the opposite party furious enough to erupt, you thought you had gained an advantage, but actually it was just because their system made them let you benefit. Of course, this was except for Beifei. Others wouldn't know about someone else's system, so they could only speculate about a person. But Beifei could see everyone's system tasks crystal clear. "Quiet. Now, please welcome our principal to speak." The head of the disciplinary committee's words quieted everyone down. Principal Li Nanxing of Luhe High School had already begun his speech on the podium. Principal Li Nanxing looked to be in his 60s, with age upon him, his hair white and sparse, but he was spirited and wore a proper and friendly suit. He was approachable, without any airs, and was highly regarded among the students. Xiang Befe did not listen to the principal's speech, as it was probably about the importance of system awakening and the hope for everyone to have a bright future. He was interested in Principal Li Nanxing's system. Host, Li Nanxing, S-rank, Confucian Saint system, realm. Xiang Beifei couldn't see Principal Li Nanxing's realm, nor could he check the others' system tasks, which he found strange. He speculated that his abilities were probably limited, and maybe if someone's realm was high enough, he would not be able to inspect it. No matter what system everybody had, the goal of completing tasks was to obtain higher strength, and the divisions of realms were the same. Qi controlling, meridian opening, God refining, orifice transforming, heavenly connection, immortality. Each realm was divided into 3 subrealms. early stage, middle stage, and late stage. And currently, Xiang Befe could only see individuals who were in the qi-controlling realm. Principal Li Nanxing's realm must certainly be above that of qi-controlling. I'm sure your homeroom teachers have already explained the importance of systems quite clearly, so I won't dwell on it here. I hope that each of you will awaken an excellent system, work hard, and reach the pinnacle of life as soon as possible, the white-haired Principal Li Nanxing said with a smiling face. Perhaps related to the system he awoke, he had an intrinsic air of Confucian elegance, highly respected. When he spoke, the whole venue listened quietly, and there were few who were distracted. Every class had already lined up, with 10 senior classes in their school in total. Xiang Beifei was in class 9. At this moment, every homeroom teacher stood in front of their class, with a blue stone before them. This stone was only about the size of a palm, completely crystalline and translucent, with faint traces of lightning swirling around it, floating mid-air, making it seem particularly solemn. That was the electric shock thunderstone used for system awakening. Made of special materials, it would emit lightning that struck the soul directly, stimulating the latent talents within everyone's body. As talents were awakened, the thunderstone would also evaluate the level of one's talents. The origins of this thunderstone were extraordinary. It was said to be created by a big shot from Yang's, known as electric shock thunderstone. Just the name sounded formidable. After all, getting struck by lightning could awaken one's talent system. Who would dare underestimate this thunderstone? Proceed one by one according to your seat number, Yang Hua said to his class in a deep voice. Actually, Yang Hua was also looking forward to it. If a student from his class awakened an S-rank system, it would reflect well on him, not to mention that he could receive a generous bonus. On the other hand, it could also increase his prestige value as a teacher, as nurturing a genius would certainly be noticed by the Master Dao system, and might even trigger hidden tasks within the Master Dao system. Thinking of his Master Dao system acting up earlier that day, randomly losing a soul-condensing pill, he was so pained he almost felt suffocated, wishing desperately for a good outcome from the student's S-rank system awakening. Student number 1, Wang Dan, walked nervously to the side of the thunderstone, pressing her hand onto the floating stone with trepidation. Blue lightning zapped from the thunderstone, transferring up her arm into her body with a sound, and she let out a shriek, her whole body enveloped by the tendrils of lightning. Intense fluctuations emanated from Wang Dan's body, and soon after, the surrounding lightning began to shake violently, forming wave after wave of ripples. As the blue lightning gradually converged, but the color of the lightning was not very clear. Beside it was a miniature electronic display screen, which would show the tier of talent based on the voltage from the thunderstone. An N appeared on the electronic display. Wang Dan's face was filled with disappointment. An N-grade system is the most basic of systems. Without an R-grade system, there are no bonus points for the college entrance exam, which means starting at a lower point than others. She looked very upset. N-grade system, a common talent system, don't be discouraged. As long as you dig deep into your system's potential, N-grade systems can sometimes exhibit strong capabilities. Principal Li Nanxing just happened to pass by, saw Wang Dan awaken her system, and didn't disparage her but instead encouraged her with a smile. Despite his words, Wang Dan still walked back dispiritedly. While others couldn't see what system Wang Dan had awakened, Xiang Beifei could see it clearly. Wang Dan's awakened system was the flower cultivation system, which required her to successfully raise a flower in order to increase her flower value by +1. Such a system destined her to apply for an agricultural college when it came time to choose a university. Looking at Wang Dan, she didn't seem to like cultivating flowers. Number 2. As the class teacher, Yang Hua was still brooding over his own system issues and did not offer comfort or disparagement, but instead urged the next student. Xiang Beifei watched his classmates awaken their own talent systems one by one, and some of the bizarre systems truly surprised him. Take the strange dishwashing system, for example, which relied on the number of dishes washed to earn points. One had to wash 100 dishes to get +1 diligence value. It goes without saying how despondent that delicate-looking boy was when he discovered he had awakened the dishwashing system. Wang Pengzi from their class, weighing 200 pounds, had awakened the Dance King system, which required mastering all kinds of dances from around the world, and only after completing a dance to the standard could he earn one Dance King value. Wang Pengzi was devastated when he saw the system he had awakened. And then there were quirky systems like the eating dirt system, brick moving system, and moonlight race system, all of which Xiang Befe found fascinating. More and more people publicly awakened their systems, and some students were overjoyed after discovering theirs, clearly satisfied with the systems they had awakened. For example, Sun Kuo from Xiang Beifei's class had awakened the N-grade real estate system. Although it was a common system, the initial tasks were particularly difficult to complete, with the first task being to purchase a commercial property. This was almost impossible for someone still in school unless their family had the means to support such endeavors. Considering Sun Kuo's wealthy family background and the system he had awakened, it was certain that his family would later assist him in striving to become a real estate tycoon. Therefore, Sun Kuo wasn't too disappointed. Similarly, systems like restaurant chain system and supermarket empire, among others, were part of the business system category. Representative figures in the business system included Ma Dayun from Alibaba and Ma Dating from the Penguin nobility. Even though no one knew what their systems were, it could be inferred that the individuals representing the two major Ma corporations had systems related to business, and those tycoons were rumored to have awakened SSR systems which were likely linked to business. Legends that one could only look up to. Maybe I could awaken a UR grade system, and then I could finally stand tall and proud, Kong Shoin said beside him, full of longing. UR is a system with even greater potential than SSR, strong enough to crush all competitors, almost standing at the pinnacle of this world. You dreaming of awakening a UR system? That's daydreaming, class leader Zhu Jing said with an unexpected jab. Mind your own business, Kong Shoin retorted and, disregarding Zhu Jing's ugly expression, turned back to Xiang Befe and said, Xiang Befe, this is our only chance for a turnaround. If I awaken a UR grade system, then let's see them act arrogant. Those who could awaken an S-grade system would become the focus of the entire school. Come the college entrance exams, getting points deducted or being admitted without examination would not pose a problem. If it were a UR system, it would likely cause a major sensation. However, up to this point, no one at their Luha High School had been heard to have awakened a UR system, and even SSR systems were rare. In the 100 years since Luha High School was founded, there had only been one person who had awakened an SSR system, a person whose achievements were looked up to with unfathomable cultivation skills. What system do you hope to awaken? Xiang Beifei asked. The best would be the scholar system. It'd allow a show-stopping debut. Let's see the slackers turn the tables and give those losers a beatdown. Wonder if they'd still dare to laugh at our poor grades, Kong Shoin said animatedly, then added, the superstar system wouldn't be bad either. Venturing into the entertainment industry could be a good choice. And if all else fails, I wouldn't turn my nose up at the tycoon system either. Lost in his merry fantasies, Kong Shoin believed that any system was intended to improve oneself, but a good system could make that improvement happen much faster. The trajectory of many people's lives during their college entrance exam year can be altered, as awakening a system that year can change their future choices. If someone has been interested in computer science since childhood but awakens a medical system, they would have to abandon their dreams to apply for medical school. This is quite similar to the real world, where parents force their children to apply for majors they think are promising. Therefore, the best system to awaken is one that matches one's own interests because only then would there be motivation to complete tasks. Moments later, Kong Shoin asked again, what about you, Xiang Beifei? What system do you hope to awaken? Me? I'm not picky, anything goes. Xiang Beifei, new to this world, hadn't fully grasped it yet, so he wasn't very demanding about the system. Kong Shoin said, how can you be so ambitionless? That won't do. Let me tell you a secret. Kong Shoin glanced at the others, leaned into Xiang Beifei's ear, and whispered mysteriously, My old man spent a fortune on a medicinal herb from an enlightened master. He's researched talent systems for years. Supposedly, if you take this herb, there's a 50% chance of awakening the system you want. Kong Shoin held out his hand, revealing 2 black pills emitting a pungent, strange odor. Dad told me to take both. With one, there's a 50% chance, but with 2, it's a sure thing. 50% with 1 pill and 100% with 2. The math here is quite magical. Xiang Befe couldn't help but grin. He felt that the master Kong Shoin mentioned was very likely someone who had awakened the bluff system or charlatan system. Kong Shoin, looking dead serious, shoved a black pill into Xiang Befe's hand and said, "I don't need 100% certainty. This one's for you." Xiang Befe was surprised. "For me? Shoo, keep it down. Costs over 10,000 a pill. Dad told me to keep it quiet. I can't stand how the homeroom teacher always picks on us. We need to awaken an SR system and show them. Give ourselves some breathing room." Kong Shoin's family was relatively well off, and Xiang Beifei's was struggling. But the two got along well, and Kong Shoin was always quite generous with Xiang Befe. Weiss, amended as weighing. The black pill in his hand, Xiang Befe was certain such a thing couldn't be effective. If it were, there would already be geniuses all over the world. "You keep it for yourself. I'll leave it to fate," Xiang Befe insisted, heart not set on destroying Kong Shoin's illusion as he handed the pill back. But Kong Shoin adamantly forced the pill back into Xiang Beifei's hand, clapping him on the shoulder. "Take it? What's with the formality between us? What are friends for? Don't worry. If I awaken an advanced talent system, I've got your back. Then I'm going to cling to your coattails in advance." Xiang Befe laughed. As they were discussing, a wave of envious exclamations suddenly burst from another corner of the crowd. "Oh my! Someone has awakened an S-class system. So jealous. That's the first S-class system awakener today." The crowd became restless, craning their necks and looking on with envy at the person who had awakened an S-class system. She was a girl from Class 1 named Chenro, not only outstanding academically but also exceptionally pretty. Tall and elegant, demure and refined, she was a goddess within Class 1, known as the Class Belle, and many boys harbored a secret crush on her. "Oh my! It's her. My goddess awakened an S-class system. Oh my! I must work harder to awaken an S-class system and be with her," a boy from Class 2 exclaimed. "Pfft! Keep dreaming. Why don't you just take a piss and look at yourself? My pee is yellow, let me enlighten him. My breath stinks. Let me have a talk with him." Many boys were all discussing animatedly, eyes filled with admiration, and quite a few girls were also mixing envy with jealousy. It wasn't enough to be good-looking, but even the grade of the awakened system was so high. Xiang Beifei curiously looked toward Chenro. A light yellow dress, fluffy hair. The outfit was very fashionable. Xiang Beifei glanced at her system. Host, Chenro. S-rank, backup snatch system. Status, ordinary person. Mission, please find 5 backups. Chenro seemed to be contemplating her system's abilities as well, and after a moment of thought, she walked toward the crowd under everyone's envious gaze. When she reached the boy from Class 2 who had not yet awakened his system but fantasized about being with the goddess, she accidentally twisted her foot and bumped into the boy. I'm sorry, I didn't do it on purpose," Chenro said with a remorseful face. The boy was stunned. He had actually been accidentally bumped by the goddess. The goddess even apologized to him. No problemi." The boy was extremely excited and a bit carried away. "Hello. My name is Chenro." Chenro revealed a gentle and graceful smile, extending her hand to shake with the boy. "Oh my God. Is today my lucky day? Not only did the goddess apologize to me, but she also wants to shake my hand." The boy's eyes shone with a certain light. "Hello. I'm Zhao Tian from Class 2. Really nice to meet you." Zhao Tian hastily stretched out his hand, holding Chenro's delicate palm. The goddess's hand is as soft as if it has no bones. "I'm not washing my hands for a month. Zhao Tian thought excitedly. At this time, Xiang Beifei saw that Lu Chenro's system interface already displayed a new line of text. You have gained a potential backup value +1. You shook hands with the backup, you snatched the backup's arm strength, your strength +1. You conversed with the backup, you snatched the backup's social skills, your social skills +1. Everyone was unaware of what system Lu Chenro had awakened, only knowing that Lu Chenro was an S-rank top student, with boundless potential, but only Xiang Beifei saw everything very clearly. This system is a bit sinister. Xiang Beifei couldn't help but think, Lu Chenro's system was actually about raising backups and then snatching their various abilities? And getting a backup was so easy, as long as someone was interested in her, they would automatically become a backup? What a green tea bitch. Xiang Beifei looked at the boy who was being used as a backup and snatched of his abilities without knowing, feeling quite sympathetic. If in the future he kept following Lu Chenro around, probably all his abilities would be completely taken by Lu Chenro. This system epitomized what is called a loser dog in the end, losing everything by licking boots. Xiang Beifei shook his head. Although the system was bizarre and powerful, considering that Lu Chenro had little to do with him, he didn't want to intervene. While there was a buzz on that side, the awakening ceremony here continued, and soon, Xiang Beifei's class also burst into exclamations. A S-level system had appeared. It was Monitor Zhu Jing. Monitor Zhu is also S-level. Amazing! Many classmates cast envious looks in Zhu Jing's direction. A student who awakened an S-level talent system started a whole class higher than everyone else. As if in a 100-meter race, they had run ahead by 20 meters. Zhu Jing was also incredibly excited. Immediately he straightened up and puffed out his chest, basking in the adoration and admiration of all eyes on him. Very pleased with his own system. Very good. Very good. I knew I wasn't wrong about you. Yang Hua was thrilled. The testing had gone on for quite some time, and the systems awakened by the students in his class were only N level, with 6 being R level, too low a level. Originally, when he first became a teacher, if a student had an R-level system, his prestige value would increase. But as the system missions gradually increased in difficulty, now only an S-level could add to his teacher prestige value. Because of Zhu Jing's appearance, his teacher prestige value had just increased by 500 points. Yang Hua almost cried. 500 teacher prestige points. This was much easier than criticizing students all day long. It's over. I was thinking of suppressing him with my system, to see if he would dare to be arrogant with us in the future, but I didn't expect this guy to be so lucky. Kong Shoin spoke with both envy and jealousy. Xiang Beifei had planned to check out what kind of system Zhu Jing had, but Yang Hua had already called Xiang Beifei to go up and take part in the awakening ceremony. Xiang Beifei had no choice but to retract his gaze and walk towards the floating electric shock thunderstone. What system will I awaken? Xiang Beifei pondered to himself. Although he was able to see other people's systems, in this world power still ruled supreme. Without a cultivation technique or promotion means, it was still useless. He had to increase his own strength. The thunderstone emitting blue electric arcs was flickering before his eyes, and every now and then, a spark of electricity lit up. The thunder and electricity emitted by the thunderstone stimulated the potential within the human body, awakening the innate system. After stimulating potential, the intensity of the sparks produced by the thunder and electricity determined the talent level of a person's system. Generally speaking, for an N-level system, the electric arc is blue. An R-level system turns the arc deep blue. An S-level system turns it black. An SR-level system is red. An SSR-level system is white. Actually, based on the color of the electric arcs, one could judge what someone's talent really is. Xiang Beifei carefully pressed his palm against the thunderstone. Hiss! There was a slight tingling in his palm, and sparks of electricity followed Xiang Beifei's palm into his body, swiftly coursing through his limbs and bones, as if searching for something. Whoosh! The thunderstone suddenly lit up with a dazzling golden yellow light. This color was incredibly eye-catching, instantly drawing everyone's gaze towards it. What? Is that golden yellow? Isn't that the legendary? Yang Hua, the class teacher, gasped. A golden yellow electric arc meant the legendary UR level system, an exceedingly rare existence in the world. The electric shock thunderstone in Xiang Befe's hand immediately attracted a lot of attention, whether from teachers or students, all captivated by the splendid golden yellow electric arcs. My God! Am I dreaming? Is this a UR system? Somebody exclaimed in disbelief. Even Principal Li Nanqing, who was at a distance, suddenly turned into an afterimage, instantly appearing beside Xiang Befe, his expression extremely astonished. The light of the UR system. Could it be? Could it be? Principal Li Nanqing was immensely excited. Endowed with the Confucian saint system, he naturally strived tirelessly toward this goal, teaching and nurturing with the aim of fostering a generation of renowned Confucian scholars. Now that his students were spread far and wide, as long as a student under his tutelage made a name for themselves, the system would also bring him benefits. If a student of UR level were to emerge from his school, it would likely propel him directly to the next realm. On the other hand, Yang Hua, the homeroom teacher, was also trembling with excitement. If a UR level genius appeared in his class, wouldn't that add a whopping 100,000 points to his prestige value? However, gradually, people started to sense that something was amiss. The color of the electric arc suddenly dimmed, turning from golden yellow to white. What's happening here? Many people were puzzled. Wasn't it the legendary, rare UR system just moments ago? How did it downgrade to SSR? But even the white electric arcs symbolizing the SSR system were shocking enough. That's SSR. Even if it's not on par with UR, it's still enough to drive people wild. And yet, soon people felt something was off again. The color of the electric arc of the electric shock thunderstone suddenly turned red. Was that the SR system? Why did the levels displayed by the thunderstone continuously decrease? Sizzle. The electric arc changed to the black color that represented the S-level system. Following that was the navy blue of R, and then it reverted back to light blue of N. What's going on? Wasn't it a golden yellow arc just now? I thought our school was about to witness the rise of an unparalleled genius, but why has it changed to the lowest level N system? Could the thunderstone be malfunctioning? Crack. The electric shock thunderstone in Xiang Beifei's hand turned into an unsightly rock, with the electric sparks suddenly disappearing altogether. Xiang Beifei looked at the thunderstone in his hand with some confusion. What exactly is going on? Did your system awaken? Principal Li Nanqing asked urgently. He had lived more than half his life and had never seen such a phenomenon. Initially thinking that a golden yellow UR system had emerged, he was so thrilled that he almost shouted out loud, but he had never expected the thunderstone's arc to keep changing, falling all the way to N level. No, I don't feel any system awakening. Xiang Beifei frowned. He didn't see any system prompts. Then why did the thunderstone turn out like that just now? Principal Li Nanqing asked impatiently. Yang Hua eagerly stepped forward, taking the thunderstone from Xiang Beifei's hand, only to find that the thunderstone no longer showed an electric arc. After inspecting it, he looked at Xiang Beifei with a strange expression and said, "This thunderstone, it seems to be broken?" Everyone was taken aback. So the thunderstone was broken. No wonder. I was saying, with his poor grades, how could he possibly awaken such a high-level system? It must have been an issue with the thunderstone. Everyone's gaze towards Xiang Beifei normalized a bit. If a student with terrible grades had awakened a UR-level system, it would surely have caused rancor. Principal Li Nanqing also took the thunderstone, gave it a brief inspection, and his hopeful gaze dimmed, as the thunderstone indeed elicited no response. It seems the thunderstone was the issue just now. Bring another thunderstone. Principal Li Nanqing couldn't help but take another look at Xiang Beifei, feeling somewhat regretful. He didn't know Xiang Beifei, but he had earnestly hoped that Xiang Beifei had truly awakened an SR or higher level system. In that case, Luha High School would surely rise to the ranks of top schools, gaining fame and distinction. All the restlessness and shock of the crowd settled back down. If the principal himself said so, then the thunderstone must indeed be broken. Glimpses towards Xiang Befe took on a touch of schadenfreude. This guy had ridden an emotional roller coaster today. Just as he thought he was about to turn the tables and be in the spotlight, it turned out to be a huge farce, ending in a complete flop. Xiang Befe held the thunderstone in his hand, indifferent to the stares of the others, who all thought the thunderstone was broken. Yet he harbored a peculiar thought in his mind. In the process just then, the lightning had desperately tried to penetrate his body for quite some time, searching for the so-called system talent. But as the thunderstone's power surged to the max, there remained no sign of activity within Xiang Befe. The thunderstone didn't give up, continuing to surge until, at last, it ran out of steam. So to be precise, the powerful Yang's electric shock thunderstone wasn't broken. It was just that Xiang Befe had drained it of its power. This result even made Xiang Befe want to cry and laugh at the same time. It's as if the thunderstone was fitted with a fake battery. Why did it run out of power during the test? What if I bring over another thunderstone and the same thing happens again? One malfunctioning thunderstone is an accident, but two is a cause for concern. Xiang Befe couldn't help but feel worried. He had no desire to draw too much attention to himself. In this new world, without a strong background, if he awakened a truly powerful system and drew the interest of the wrong people, that would spell trouble. It's better to keep a low profile. Get rich quietly. The Dean of Instruction soon brought over another thunderstone. This one crackled with electric sparks, sounding very energetic, probably a brand new piece that hadn't been used before. As soon as the Dean let go, the thunderstone floated still in mid-air. Everyone was watching him, curious to know what system Xiang Befe would awaken this time. Xiang Befe hesitated for a moment before placing his hand on the thunderstone again. Whoosh! The thunderstone became restless again. Its blue arcs of electricity appeared to be changing. But just then a strange warm current surged through Xiang Befe's body, and with a cry that sounded like a baby's roar, a shadow appeared in front of Xiang Beifei's eyes. Woof! It was an unknown little creature, at first glance resembling a small puppy, palm-sized, with snow-white fur and sapphire-blue eyes that seemed to contain the stars in the sky. Quite extraordinary. At the same time as the little puppy appeared, it excitedly barked, pounced on the thunderstone, and bit into it with its tiny mouth. Crackle! Before the thunderstone had a chance to flicker its colors, it dimmed down. The previously vigorous sparks seemed about to be exhausted. Damn it, is it gonna run out of power again? Wait, stop messing around. Get away from that stone. Xiang Befe shouted urgently. Woof! The puppy paused, looking at Xiang Befe with confusion. Please, what on earth is this? Where's my system? Xiang Befe was completely befuddled. If this wasn't his system, then how was he supposed to build his own system into a supreme, invincible one? It seemed as though the puppy understood what Xiang Befe meant, as it let go of the thunderstone and jumped onto Xiang Beifei's shoulder. At this moment, the color displayed on the thunderstone in Xiang Beifei's hand was even more pitiful than pale blue. N grade. The level assessment appeared on the thunderstone's electronic display. Only N grade? Principal Li Nanxing appeared more disappointed than anyone else. Even after the thunderstone malfunctioned, he had held on to a sliver of hope for Xiang Befe, hoping that his school would produce a genius, which would turn his institution into an internationally famous high school and himself into a renowned principal, securing better resources for the school. Unfortunately, he had celebrated too early. Yang Hua also looked distressed on the other side. Just now, his system had malfunctioned, losing the reward, and he was still brooding over how to make it up. When Xiang Beifei's test showed the UR glow, he was ecstatic, but now it only added to his frustration. I thought our school was going to have a UR prodigy. What a pity. Yeah, I was getting ready to be envious of him, even thinking about quickly holding onto his coattails. But it turned out that it was me, an R-level, who actually became the big thigh to hold onto. Many people looked at Xiang Befe with considerable sympathy. This dramatic change caught them off guard. Those who didn't know Xiang Befe felt sorry for him, but many of his classmates actually thought it was only to be expected. After all, he was the student with the lowest grades in the class. If he had awakened a UR system, it definitely would have upset the balance for them. Being N-level was normal too. There were quite a few N-level awakeners present. Nobody had the right to pass judgment on anyone else. No matter, an N-level system shouldn't discourage you. Quite a lot of people became figures of great influence with an N-level system. Starting from a lower point than others doesn't mean your future will be any worse. We all create our own futures with our bare hands. Principal Li Nanxing comforted Xiang Befe. After all, he was a renowned scholar of his generation, always kind to his students and never looking down on anyone, believing that learning has its own sequence and every profession has its master, and from every field emerges a top scholar. Students with poor talent have turned their lives around to become successful people after putting in effort. Such cases were numerous. Having lived for many years, Li Nanxing was very clear about this. I know. Thank you for the advice, Principal, Xiang Befe said. Although what Principal Li Nanxing said related to his system, it was undeniable that he truly had the students' best interests at heart. As the students succeeded, he also benefited from the system, so Li Nanxing never gave up on any student, often encouraging them to be proactive and helping them solve problems. This was something that Xiang Befe still respected. Woof! The little puppy also barked cheerfully. But it seemed like no one else saw Xiang Beifei's little puppy. Xiang Befe walked back with his little puppy. Kong Shoin came over, his expression complicated as he comforted. You really scared me just now. I thought you were about to awaken a legendary system and skyrocket. I was ready to follow you. What a pity. Are you okay? Kong Shoin was worried Xiang Befe might take it hard and was thinking about how to comfort him. Anyone put in this situation without a strong heart would probably not make it through. I'm fine, you just do your best, Xiang Befe said. Yang Hua called out from above. Next, Kong Shoin. It's my turn now. I hope I can awaken a good system. Hearing the homeroom teacher calling his name, Kong Shoin hurriedly ran up the stage. On the other hand, the class president Zhu Jing was basking in everyone else's praise, looking very smug as he saw Xiang Befe return to the crowd. He had awakened an S-level appreciation system, and his first task after awakening was gather 250 appreciation values within 1 hour. If someone you know praises or envies you, appreciation value +1. If someone you don't know praises or envies you, appreciation value plus 0.01. Task reward: Qi controlling pill. After awakening his system, Zhu Jing received the envy of countless people. Today, being another great day for awakenings, the entire field was full of students, teachers, and parents, and students with S-level systems received attention from all around. Less than 10 minutes after he awakened his system, he received 249 appreciation values, just 1 point shy, and he could have collected 250 to successfully exchange for a rare Qi controlling pill, which would have allowed him to step directly into the early stages of Qi control. This showcased the twisted power of an S-level system. Others would have to train hard for at least 2 months to several years to reach the Qi controlling realm, but with his initial task, he was already ahead of others and got off to a very quick start. However, during Xiang Beifei's test, all attention was drawn to him, causing the spotlight Zhu Jing was just about to enjoy to be completely overshadowed. Although Xiang Beifei's test turned out to be a farce in the end, people's focus on Zhu Jing was no longer as intense as in the beginning, causing his appreciation value to stagnate. Damn it! Just 1 point short of appreciation value. Why has everyone stopped praising me? Zhu Jing was inwardly anxious. Praise from those who had already praised him was ineffective. He needed to be envied by those who hadn't praised him yet. In order to collect 250 appreciation values, he had secretly taken out his phone and posted a real photo of himself on social media with the caption, "Have awakened an S-class system." But most of his social media friends were his classmates, who were all busy awakening and understanding their own systems. Afraid of having their phones confiscated by the disciplinarian, they didn't dare to take them out, and his likes were stuck at 249 and wouldn't budge. Whenever someone praised or envied him, the system would prompt him, and he quickly discovered that in the entire class, only Xiang Befe and Kong Shoin had not praised him. Because a known person's praise added 1 point, while a stranger's only added 0.01. so he needed to make Xiang Befe or Kong Shoin envy him, which would be much better than finding 100 strangers. With an hour nearly up, if he didn't hurry and the time passed, he would have to start over, so he had to quickly amass those 250 points. Since Kong Shoin was still undergoing testing, the target naturally became Xiang Befe. Zhu Jing saw Xiang Befe with his head down, looking somewhat dejected, and he immediately strode over to Xiang Befe. Thinking that he didn't get along very well with Xiang Befe, he pondered a bit, organized his wording, and then offered fake comfort. Xiang Befe, it's okay. Don't be discouraged. The teacher said that N-class systems can also be promising. Never give up. How can he compare with your S-class system, monitor? A classmate said enviously. However, this classmate's words did not bring Zhu Jing any appreciation value, as the person had already contributed. What Zhu Jing wanted was not this person's praise, but Xiang Beifei's. You can't say that, look, even though I've awakened an S-class system, as the class monitor, I treat all classmates equally. With college entrance exams coming up, we need to help each other. I've always believed that classmates who awaken N-class systems can also have a bright future. Zhu Jing mustered a smile and said patiently, the monitor speaks so well. The monitor has awakened an S-class system and is still so approachable. Such an open-mindedness. A bunch of classmates praised from the side. But Zhu Jing's appreciation value still did not rise. Xiang Beifei, you must be envious, right? I'm someone with an S-class system. Shouldn't you hurry up and praise me? Zhu Jing thought impatiently. He could hardly wait any longer. Xiang Beifei looked up at Zhu Jing's appreciation system. Others didn't know what system Zhu Jing had awakened, but Xiang Beifei could see it clear as day. This guy just needs one more like. But Xiang Beifei didn't feel there was anything to envy. He was still pondering over the issues with his own puppy, questioning in his mind for a long time. But the puppy could only say one word, woof. The little puppy didn't seem like a system at all, which was quite troublesome. Zhu Jing, realizing his words weren't effective, tried another approach. Xiang Beifei, even though you have only an N-class system, if you face any difficulties in the future, feel free to ask me for help. Understand? Zhu Jing's tone was unusually gentle while speaking to Xiang Beifei for a change. Hurry up. You damn fool. I'm talking to you like this, so hurry up and praise me. Hurry up and praise me. Quick. Praise me. Zhu Jing was internally roaring. Xiang Beifei stroked his chin, blinking his eyes. The reward for this guy's task is a chi-controlling pill? A chi-controlling pill is such a great thing, it can directly bring someone into the initial phase of chi-controlling. What an outrageous item. To think that even the class teacher Yang Hua, who has awakened an R-class system for almost 10 years, is still only in the later phase of chi-controlling, whereas Zhu Jing's first task reward for his S-class system is the initial phase of chi-controlling. With Zhu Jing's gifted system, he wouldn't need 10 years to surpass the class teacher. No wonder many universities favored students with S-class systems. The class teacher Yang Hua, for his system, would always reprimand Xiang Beifei in various ways, and Zhu Jing, to ingratiate himself with the teacher, never refrained from mocking Xiang Beifei coldly and heatedly. To know that, before the system awakening, Zhu Jing was still mocking him and Kong Shoin. Now, in order to get their praise, he immediately changed face and pretended to care about his classmates. Xiang Beifei had no fondness for this insincere fellow. He was already brooding over issues with his system, feeling quite annoyed, and seeing Zhu Jing prancing about in front of him with a weirdly contrived expression only added to Xiang Beifei's helplessness. This is what you want me to seek praise for? It's not my fault. Class leader, you're really awesome. Xiang Beifei said sincerely. Where? We're all classmates after all. When Zhu Jing heard Xiang Beifei's words, his face broke into a delighted smile. He had completed his first task with such ease. He couldn't wait to check his system. You have received praise from Xiang Beifei. Appreciation value +1. Zhu Jing was overjoyed. Finally, it reached 250. He was about to break through to the chi-controlling realm. In his mind appeared countless fantasies. As soon as he broke through the chi-controlling realm, he would definitely attract everyone's attention again, and then there would be even more people praising him, from which he could harvest a large wave of appreciation values. Thinking of this, Zhu Jing felt even the air was refreshingly sweet. You have completed a task. Task reward. Qi controlling pill. Would you like to claim your reward? Yes, of course. Zhu Jing eagerly watched the system interface. He was well aware of what a qi controlling pill meant. A qi controlling pill could let someone skip the painful early stages of cultivation to truly step into the ranks of cultivators. As long as he was the first to step into the qi controlling realm, he would become the standard child of someone else in the eyes of all parents. Zhu Jing nervously spread his hands, waiting for the qi controlling pill to fall into them. Reward has been issued. Host, please keep up the good work. Seek praise wholeheartedly. Create a better future. Issued. Zhu Jing immediately checked his hands, but there was no reward. Then he searched his own pockets, still nothing. Could it be in the backpack? Zhu Jing rushed towards the classroom in a flurry to search for the reward issued by the system. I'm about to become the first person in the class to step into the qi controlling realm. If this news is known by everyone, the appreciation value I'll reap next will skyrocket. Ha ha ha. Zhu Jing felt even his running posture was cool and impressive. Xiang Befe watched Zhu Jing's retreating figure with a contemplative look, hands in his pockets, appearing quite calm. In his pocket there was a pale yellow pill. That was the qi-controlling pill for Zhu Jing's completion of his first task. Should this reward be returned? Xiang Beifei pondered slightly. Class teacher Yang Hua would use Xiang Beifei as a negative example for his own tasks, making a big deal out of every trivial matter to criticize him. Zhu Jing, too, was showing off in front of Xiang Beifei deliberately, trying to complete his own tasks through Xiang Beifei. But they all picked the wrong target. After a while, Xiang Beifei made a decision. When you're doing your tasks, don't try to drag me into it intentionally, nor seek validation from me. If that's the case, all is well. Otherwise, I can only reluctantly accept your rewards. He planned to wait until he got home to properly research the 2 qi-controlling pills he had received today. Otherwise, if he took them right in front of everyone, an N-level system awakener suddenly breaking through to qi-controlling realm would seem far-fetched. Of course, he could explain it as the work of his system, but after all, being N-level, the starting point shouldn't be so high. Xiang Beifei actually cared more about the little puppy he had awakened. He still didn't understand what his little puppy was for. What in the world are you? Xiang Beifei picked up the little puppy and studied it over and over. Woof woof. The little puppy barked happily, wagging its tail twice. But Xiang Beifei couldn't understand what it was saying. It seemed to be just barking simply. Xiang Beifei asked all sorts of questions, and the little puppy could only bark twice. You're not just here to be cute, are you? Xiang Beifei stroked the little puppy's head. The little puppy squinted its eyes on his palm. Xiang Beifei thought for a moment and said, I should give you a name. The little puppy, with its tongue out, looked eagerly at Xiang Beifei. You're so cute. All your fur is so white. White like a ball of snow, Then I'll call you Xiaohe, Xiang Beifei said. Xiaohe blinked, looking somewhat astonished. I've always wanted to get a dog and name it Xiaohe. Xiang Beifei burst into laughter. Whine. The all-white Xiaohe whined discontentedly and bit at Xiang Beifei's palm. But it didn't have teeth yet, so the bite on Xiang Beifei's palm was neither light nor itchy. Xiang Beifei found this little guy very amusing and gently flicked its ear with his finger. This Xiaohe, clearly newborn and confused, seemed not even to know what it was. But intuition told Xiang Beifei that Xiaohe was probably not that simple. In the distance, exclamations were heard again, as if someone else had awakened an S-level system. So far, it seemed there were already 19 students who had awakened S-level systems. With 10 classes in the senior year, that was about 2 per class on average. This result was rather normal, and Xiang Beifei was not surprised. Xiang Beifei had been keeping an eye on Kong Shoin and noticed that Kong Shoin had awakened an S-level system too. Excellent. Excellent. I knew I was not wrong about you, Kong Shoin. Yang Hua excitedly patted Kong Shoin on the shoulder. Kong Shoin, however, looked utterly dejected. Bad luck. Such bad luck. I actually awakened this system. Ah, it's outrageous. Kong Shoin looked like he was about to cry. Xiang Befe glanced at Kong Shoin's system and almost burst out laughing. Host. Kong Shoin. S-level, bald system. State. Ordinary person. Bald system? What kind of weird thing is that? Xiang Beifei's expression turned strange as he secretly pulled closer to Kong Shoin's system interface and quickly reviewed the introduction of Kong Shoin's system. Bald system, the less hair you have, the stronger you are, you're only one bald head away from being a powerhouse. Note: manually removing hair will still grow back. To perfectly utilize the system's abilities, you must stimulate your potential through various external pressures. Newbie task. Stay up studying for 1 night. Task reward. Lose 5 hairs. Note: hair can be exchanged for corresponding rewards in the system store. Xiang Beifei looked at Kong Shoin's hair, black and lush like seaweed, and couldn't help but laugh. Manually removing hair doesn't count, meaning shaving your head or plucking hair doesn't qualify. You should know, a normal person has about 100,000 strands of hair. Someone like Kong Shoin, with his robust hair growth, probably has about 150,000. And he, after staying up studying for 1 night, only lost 5 hairs. This system, it's a long and arduous journey. You've awakened an S system, which is quite impressive. It adds 50 points to your college entrance exam. Xiang Beifei said, not really knowing how to feel about Kong Shoin's system. He could only feign ignorance and patted Kong Shoin on the shoulder, enviously. Ah, you have no idea what my system is. Never mind, I can't discuss systems carelessly. In any case, I would rather not have those extra 50 points, Kong Shoin said as he covered his face and sighed. Then he spat viciously. That so-called Tao-achieving expert, he actually tricked me. The pills have no effect whatsoever. He had just swallowed 2 pills that had a 50% chance to awaken an SR system, and he ended up awakening an S-tier system. Though he could accept the outcome, he was still annoyed by this system. However, how should I get involved with a system like Kong Shoin's? Xiang Beifei fell into thought again. It's not that he coveted Kong Shoin's system rewards, as Kong Shoin is a very genuine person, and they have a good relationship. Even if Beifei were to receive Kong Shoin's rewards, he would return them. But he must consider the types of systems that allow him to receive rewards from others, such as those top student futuristic tech systems. These systems that train you to be a top student rarely require help from others. Could he then participate in the missions together with others? He needed to properly explore these issues. After the last student awakened the R-tier heavenly punishment system, the entire awakening ceremony had ended. At Luha High School, only 21 students had awakened an S-tier system, and although everyone wasn't clear about the specifics of these 21 systems, they all envied them. Among these 21, 20 were full of confidence about their futures, but one looked as if he had swallowed a fly, face livid with disgust. Zhu Jing was still hopping mad, searching everywhere for his system rewards. He didn't suspect Beifei but was adamant that there had been a mistake with the distribution of his reward, and decided to sort it out with the system store when he got back. Let's give our warmest applause to these 21 outstanding students. And don't be discouraged, the system is just a supplement. Ultimately, we rely on our own cultivation. I hope everyone can become a strong cultivator. Principal Li Nanqing gave another rousing speech, especially to those 21 students with an S-tier system. Students with an S-tier system, their future accomplishments are boundless. This represents the most outstanding students of Luha High School this year. Whatever their systems, it means they have already taken a significant lead, and the others can only look up to them. Li Nanqing naturally wanted to nurture them well. Xiang Beifei, observing these 21 S-tier systems, found their systems were indeed impressive, including the Summoning Monster system, Tao Achieving system, and the Heavenly Tao system, among others. These systems, compared to other quirky ones, had a higher likelihood of them becoming powerful martial cultivators. With their strong system talents, as long as they diligently completed the system tasks, becoming powerhouses was just a matter of time. Xiang Beifei received chi-controlling pills from Zhu Jing, meaning he could step into the chi-controlling realm faster than the others. Yet, he still lacked a cultivation technique, without which his cultivation could not progress. Of course, there are cultivation techniques sold in the market. Lots of people aiming to make money would sell their system rewards. But these cultivation techniques are not only expensive, they are also incomplete, mostly fragmented, as no one wants their system awarded techniques to be fully passed on. There would definitely be flaws. So Xiang Befe currently needed to figure out a way to obtain a complete cultivation technique. How to do that? That is indeed a problem. Having just awakened their systems, everyone was too eager to explore their own systems to have any interest in studying, so the school wisely gave all the senior 3 students a half-day holiday. After returning to the classroom, some students hurried off as if they wanted to rush to complete their first system tasks, ready to turn from underachiever to top student, experiencing a reversal of fortune that could change the course of 30 years. Others were chatting with their peers, curious about each other's systems and attempting to figure out what systems the others had. At most, one could only identify the level of another person's system but could not know the specifics of it. From the beginning of school, everyone had been indoctrinated with the importance of keeping your system a secret, so no one would reveal their system type. If someone with malicious intent tried to probe into one's system to target them, even someone close could potentially divulge it, so keeping it secret was critical, and people generally wouldn't tell their family members either. After some discussion and finding they couldn't dig out any information, everyone reluctantly left to attend to their system tasks. Xiang Befe and Shoin left the classroom together. Their homes were nearby, so they headed back in the same direction conveniently. Shoin kept running his hands through his thick, jet-black hair, looking very disconsolate. There was a time when he took great pride in having a head of hair that even girls would envy, but who would have thought that the system would play such a joke on him? Am I truly destined to be forever unattractive? Shoin looked up to the sky and let out a long sigh. Curse this hair loss. He was only 18 years old and was already facing the most devastating process in his life. Is your system task difficult to complete? Although Xiang Befe knew about Shoin's system task, he still felt compelled to ask the polite question. It's not that it's hard to do. It's just that it's time to say goodbye to my past self. My youth is over. Shoin's expression was one of tragic resolve. Hair loss had truly begun. Xiang Befe knew that Shoin was a very lax person, extremely lazy, with a severe tendency to procrastinate. To make him study was like asking for his life, and to have him stay up all night studying was as ludicrous as teaching a pig to climb a tree. Is the novice task released by your system easy? Shoin inquired. Just so, Xiang Befe replied indifferently. Xiang Befe didn't have a normal system at all and had no concept of what a novice task was. But he had a soul-condensing pill and a chi-controlling pill in hand, so he found his way to navigate through the novice period rather simple. After consoling Shoin for a bit, Xiang Befe parted ways with him and walked towards his own home. Shoin's father was a businessman, and his family was quite wealthy, living in a brand new residential area, while Xiang Befe lived in an urban village just across from the complex. He opened the door to an old rental house. The place was aged, the furniture looked well used, but the entire room was tidily kept. He lived with his grandfather. Xiang Beifei's grandfather, named Xiang Qingde, was a vegetable farmer who sold vegetables at the market. As for his parents, when he was very young, Xiang Beifei's parents went off to the outer wilderness to carry out tasks and never returned. The existence of the outer wilderness was why the world had formed the Zhuzhou Grand Alliance. How vast the outer wilderness is remains unclear to anyone, because humanity has yet to traverse this expanse of wilderness. They cling to a small corner of the immense, boundless territory, like an isolated island in the midst of the ocean, fiercely guarding their own. In the wilderness beyond human territory, there exist various savage, desolate beasts that continually invade human lands, devouring our territory. To counter these invasions, humans, through the awakening system, absorb external spiritual energy with the system's aid, empowering themselves to struggle against the desolate beasts. Countless powerful individuals ceaselessly battle these desolate beasts, reclaiming their territories. The human territories were once vast, but 300 years ago, the Jojo Grand Alliance's defenses faltered, leading to an invasion by the desolate beasts from beyond, which caused a sudden halving of human lands. As the population has kept growing, space and housing prices have become increasingly strained, making it essential for humanity to gradually expand their territory and bring those lands under the Jojo Grand Alliance's domain. Expanding territory is not an easy task, as one must always be ready for the desolate beasts' counterattacks, and some terrains are unsuitable for residents, disturbed by poisonous gases from beyond the domain, which must be slowly purified. To reclaim the lost lands for humanity, a noble profession has arisen within the Alliance, known as pioneers. Pioneers are required to carry out missions in the outer wilderness, constantly facing life-threatening dangers. Xiang Befe's parents were both pioneers. But when Xiang Befe was 14, after they set out on a mission, they suddenly disappeared. In the Jojo Grand Alliance, the status of pioneers is highly esteemed as they battle for human territories, so the Alliance ensures the well-being of the pioneers' families. After his parents' incident, they provided a considerable sum of compensation. But money is something that will eventually run out. To save on expenses, they moved here. Xiang Beifei's grandfather also often went out to sell vegetables, saving money to support his grandson. Xiang Befe glanced at the time. It was only 11 o'clock. Normally at this time he would still be in class. Today school ended rather early. At that moment, the door creaked open, and an elderly man with grizzled hair hurried in. On seeing Xiang Befe, he immediately showed a smile. "Befe, you're back?" Xiang Qingde put down the basket of vegetables he was carrying, then quickly walked over, apologizing. "Sorry, Befe. Today was the day for your awakening system, and I should have been at school to see it, but there was a sudden sanitation inspection at the market. To avoid a fine, I got held up, and by the time I got to the school, classes had already dismissed." "It's okay, Grandpa," said Xiang Befe. Xiang Qingde asked tentatively, "So, what level of system did you awaken?" Xiang Befe hesitated, then said, "N level." Xiang Qingde's expression dimmed slightly. N level signified the most common of people, those whose future accomplishments were destined not to be very high. But he quickly said, "N level is also fine. The system is just an aid after all. As long as one works hard, any system can help us live better. Think about the governor of Liangzhou in our Jojo Grand Alliance. It's said that he is a host to an N-level system. The governor of Liangzhou, Shang Tianxiong, represents a rational archetype. When he first awakened, it was an N-level system, yet he managed to become a high-ranking official in Jojo with sheer perseverance, was written into textbooks, and became a model story for our times." "I understand, Grandpa." Xiang Beifei smiled. In truth, he knew all too well that the higher the level of the system, the more substantial the rewards for completing system missions, and the faster one's strength and wealth would increase. This was nearly a universal understanding. Those like Shang Tianxiong, who rose to legendary status starting with an N-level system, are after all a rarity. Xiang Qingde knew this too, yet he still encouraged his grandson, not wanting Xiang Beifei to become disheartened due to the low level of his system. Xiang Beifei looked at his grandfather's system panel. Then he frowned slightly. Displayed on his grandfather's system panel was a snowflake. His system appeared to be broken. Grandpa's system panel was broken, something Xiang Beifei had discovered on the first day he transmigrated back home. During his transmigration, he had inherited the original owner's memories, but the original Xiang Beifei had never possessed the ability to see other people's system panels, so he wasn't clear about what Xiang Qingde's system was, let alone why his own grandfather had lost his system. Over the past month, the more Xiang Beifei explored the rules of this system world, the more curious he felt. He had seen various people on the streets, and as long as someone reached adulthood, they would awaken their own system, which meant that every adult, regardless of talent, had their own system. Whether it was the tracking system for law enforcement or the old driver system, for those who drove, everyone chose their professions based on their systems. Yet seeing an adult like his grandfather with a system panel turned into static was something Xiang Beifei had never encountered before. But in this world, people couldn't see other system attributes, so Xiang Beifei couldn't tell his grandfather that he was a transmigrator and could see other people's system attributes, nor could he openly ask his grandfather why he didn't have a system panel. What are you thinking about? Xiang Qingde had already prepared the meal and cheerfully brought it to the table. Nothing much, just thinking about my own system, Xiang Beifei replied casually as he sat at the dining table, staring at the broken system panel above his grandfather's head. By the way, I haven't asked yet, which aspect is your system awakened in? Physical strength, intelligence, or financial power? Does completing system tasks require money? Xiang Qingde asked. Before Xiang Beifei could answer, Xiang Qingde added, whatever the specifics of your system, you don't need to tell me. It's a secret, and even the closest people shouldn't reveal it. But if it requires financial resources, just let me know, and I'll find a way to gather the money. There was a pension fund at home, which Xiang Qingde had always saved, not spending it, just waiting to use it for his grandson. After a moment's thought, Xiang Beifei shook his head and said, I don't need money for now, my system. It's related to intelligence. He actually didn't have a system at all, just an all-white Xiaohe. However, considering his unique circumstances, he decided to keep it a secret for now. Intelligence. Xiang Qingde suddenly realized and then said, an intelligence-based system, that's good. Being smart is better than being simply honest. Don't be discouraged, just strive hard. Although Grandpa may not be very capable, I will never let you suffer. Xiang Qingde was an optimistic old man who always held hope for life. Even if his grandson had only awakened an N-level system, he believed his grandson could still carve out a future. Xiang Beifei propped up his chin, deep in thought, and after a long while, he asked, Grandpa, what type of system did you awaken? Xiang Qingde smiled gently and said, Grandpa's system talent isn't great, just a vegetable selling system, but telling you won't hurt. Although I'm also trying hard to make money, even the weakest system can still help us in life. Xiang Beifei looked thoughtfully at Xiang Qingde, not asking further. Days before, he had looked through books related to systems, learning about system principles. The origin of systems was beyond verification. They seemed to integrate into each person's genes. After reaching adulthood, they possessed the ability to awaken. Humans without an awakened system had long gone extinct in this world. Everyone would awaken a system, even if that system was terribly flawed. Ordinary means couldn't cause a system to fail. Of course, low-level systems made the system tasks extremely arduous, but there was still a system interface. But having a system screen turn into static and fail was something Xiang Beifei was hearing about for the first time. So far, there had been no records of system failure in books. Xiang Beifei felt that his grandfather seemed to be hiding something. After dinner, Xiang Beifei returned to his own room and then began to contemplate Xiaohe's situation. Xiaohe, white as a cotton ball, lay on Xiang Beifei's shoulder, yawning sleepily. Xiaohe, what can you do? Xiang Beifei placed Xiaohe in the palm of his hand and gently tapped Xiaohe's head with his finger. Woof woof. Xiaohe barked twice, blinked its small eyes a couple of times, and then shook the fur on its body. The immaculate white fur suddenly turned pitch black as ink, like a lump of coal. Huh? You can transform? Xiang Beifei looked at Xiaohe in surprise. Xiaohe proudly raised his head, wagging his tail. Try turning yellow? Woof woof. Xiaohe shook his fur and turned into a white furball. So your ability is only to turn black and white? Xiang Beifei asked. Xiaohe barked twice, unclear what he was trying to express. That's going to be a problem. Xiang Beifei realized it was very difficult to communicate with Xiaohe. He was like a newly born, ignorant fellow who couldn't even speak, making communication tough. But at least he had appeared during the awakening system activation today. Well, might as well treat him as a mascot. Xiang Beifei took out today's soul-condensing pills and chi-controlling pill, weighing them carefully. In this world, there existed spiritual energy. Draw the energy into the body, control the energy with your will. The first realm for a cultivator is called chi-controlling. This chi-controlling pill is a beginner's reward from the S-level system, a powerful system where just one pill can help you step into the realm of qi controlling. In the discipline of system integration, it's mentioned that normal S-level system awakeners generally step into the realm of qi controlling within 5 days. An R-level system requires 1 to 6 months to reach the qi controlling realm. As for the N-level, it depends on the system type. The least takes a few months, while at most it takes a year, and there are even those taking several years. It is said that the longest record for an N-level system is 10 years. S-level system awakeners have an advantage at the starting line, and it's not just a casual expression. Xiang Befe examined the qi-controlling pill, a pill he had gotten from Zhu Jing, wondering if it would also be effective for him. Just as he was about to try the qi-controlling pill, suddenly Xiaohe jumped over and snatched the pill away. "Hey, that's my stuff," Xiang Befe said. "Woof woof." Xiaohe pointed at the qi-controlling pill and then at his mouth. "You want to eat it?" Xiang Befe asked, puzzled. Xiaohe nodded his head. Xiang Befe remembered today during the activation of the awakening system. Xiaohe was absorbing a thunderstone but was interrupted by him. Could it be that this guy was running low on energy? Maybe consider recharging him at the outlet? But Xiaohe eagerly hugged the pill, continuously licking it. Fine, just eat it," Xiang Beifei said helplessly. Xiaohe happily swallowed the qi-controlling pill. An odd aroma spread from Xiaohe's body, his aura constantly transforming, faint but powerful fluctuations spreading. Xiang Beifei watched Xiaohe in astonishment. This mascot had seemingly transformed from his frail appearance just moments ago, and that somewhat imperceptible authoritative aura was very familiar because he had seen it in many of his teachers. It was the aura of the qi-controlling realm. Xiaohe had taken the step into the qi-controlling realm before him. Woof woof! Xiaohe barked joyfully twice. Then his eyes rolled and he stretched out his little paw, fumbling in the air for a bit. Suddenly, a flash of light passed, and beneath Xiaohe's feet appeared a strange book. The book was brown, with an antique cover, resembling an ancient tome. It had two peculiar black and white energies faintly flowing through it. Two characters were written on the cover. Spirit Gathering. Spirit Gathering? Spirit Gathering Book? What does this mean? Xiang Beifei felt curious and flipped open the first page of the Spirit Gathering book. On the simple page, an image of a star constellation emerged. Each star was extremely dim, shown in gray, and they were not fixed on the page. Instead, they moved slowly, like flowing light. And at the very center of the stars, one black and one white peculiar sphere circled each other. Within these orbs, there was a line of text. The yin-yang tu qi begin in the void, giving rise to all things in wondrous forms. Yin-yang tu qi? Xiang Beifei stared at the black and white orbs. In that instant, it was as if everything before his eyes suddenly shook, and he was pulled into the two black and white rays of light. In the blink of an eye, he found himself amidst a vast expanse of stars. Among those stars, he seemed to see two mysterious children. Xiang Beifei couldn't make out the appearances of the two children, but there was a very profound aura about them that made his heart tremble. "Ha! Shall we choose him?" It was the voice of a young boy, playful and delighted. Xiang Beifei curiously watched the objects in the children's hands. Could have been an illusion, but it seemed like each of them was holding a cup. "Milk tea?" "Yes, him, we need to leave, we're short on time," the other little girl urged the boy. Whoosh! Whoosh! The two figures turned into black and white energies and disappeared before his eyes. At the same time, all the stars jumped before Xiang Beifei's eyes, forming a peculiar spectacle. Looking at the dazzling stars, he felt as if he had entered an ethereal realm. His mind cleared of all distractions, leaving only these stars. These stars seemed to be pulling at his senses, and bit by bit, he felt as if he were about to merge with them. Just as this thought flashed through his mind, all the stars suddenly contracted back, shooting into his body, moving through his meridians, and then disappeared. Xiang Beifei's vision flickered, and he found himself still in his room, with nothing particularly different around him. The 28 constellations? Images of these stars' origins surfaced in Xiang Beifei's mind. He had studied the knowledge of constellations before. Before he had crossed over, he had a great interest in astronomy and had researched the 28 constellations. In a constellation, there are countless stars, but the most representative are only a few. For example, among the 28 constellations, the Horn constellation is represented by only 2 stars, Horn constellation 1 and Horn constellation 2. Similarly, the Arrogant Dragon constellation is represented by 4 stars. Woof woof! Xiaohe barked once, then opened his mouth and spat out a white starlight, which landed on Horn constellation 1, causing it to quickly light up. Xiang Befe watched in amazement at Horn constellation 1. Do these stars need to be lit up? Xiang Befe asked. Woof woof! Xiaohe then looked towards the soul-condensing pill in Xiang Befe's hand. This pill was a system reward from Yanghua. Xiang Befe hesitantly asked, Do you want this? Xiaohe wagged its tail and blinked its eyes. Xiang Befe hesitated for a moment, then gave the soul-condensing pill to Xiaohe. Xiaohe smacked his lips and swallowed the soul-condensing pill in one gulp. Xiang Beifei's mouth twitched. This was precious stuff, yet Xiaohe just ate it like that without even chewing. However, considering that Xiaohe had come with him after all, he calmed down to see what Xiaohe was actually going to do. Soon, Xiaohe opened his mouth again and expelled another cluster of white starlight, which landed on Horn constellation 2. At that moment, a slender beam of light appeared between the 2 illuminated stars of Horn constellation 1 and Horn constellation 2, linking them. A light then flashed from the connection, transforming into the shadow of a flood dragon. Xiang Beifei immediately knew about this flood dragon in his mind. The 28 constellations were divided into 4 directions, each direction containing 7 constellations. The flood dragon before him must be one of the 7 constellations of the east, the Horn constellation Jiao Mu Jiao. The Jiao Mu Jiao in the sky quickly turned into a shadow and transformed into a turtle shell plaque. The book also revealed a line of text. Ability of Jiao Mu Jiao. Learn by analogy. Source, Zhou Yi. Extend and expand it. Learn by analogy. And all affairs under heaven can be accomplished. Ability introduction. By divination with a turtle shell, one can comprehend the essence of things and learn from it. Xiang Beifei looked at the line of text with amazement, his gaze falling on the turtle shell plaque. The shell then turned into a beam of light and entered his mind. His senses became incredibly sharp in an instant. Learn by analogy. Do I possess this ability now? Xiang Beifei was greatly astonished inside, eager to know what this ability could bring him. His gaze fell on a pencil lying on the table. But nothing happened. Did learn by analogy require preliminary learning to master similar types of things? He thought for a while, then searched online for how pencils were made. Once he understood the information about pencils, he looked at the pencil on the table, and suddenly, his mind was filled with information. Twilight pencil, 2 grams, the core made of graphite and clay, the body of linden wood, used for 3 months and 2 days, last used 15 hours ago. Manufacturing method as follows. Moreover, once he knew how this pencil was made, he instantly understood other types of pens, including fountain pens, ballpoint pens, and gel pens, the manufacturing methods and detailed information for all kinds of pens. The ability learned by analogy seemed to allow him to quickly grasp all the knowledge related to the category of pens. Such a strong learning ability. Xiang Beifei was moved and searched again, this time for knowledge related to the wall tiles. Once he figured out the structure and materials of the wall tiles, he suddenly understood the knowledge of other types of tiles. He had only illuminated 2 stars of the Horn constellation but already gained such a powerful ability. If he were to light up the remaining 27 constellations, wouldn't it mean he could have 27 more abilities? Xiaohe. Must the method to illuminate the constellations rely upon system rewards? Xiang Beifei inquired. Woof woof. Xiaohe barked twice while tilting his head. But as Xiang Beifei could not understand the beast's language, he couldn't be sure whether Xiaohe was agreeing or disagreeing with him. Why is it so hard to communicate with you? Xiang Beifei sighed, but then it occurred to him that since he now had the ability learned by analogy, Did it mean he could also learn Xiaohei's language? Xiaohei, bark a few more times. I need to understand what you mean, he said, focusing on Xiaohei. Woof woof. Xiaohei pointed at himself, then at Xiang Befe, before starting to gesture excitedly with his paws and feet. Learning a language was obviously not something that could be achieved instantly. It was much more difficult than learning about pencils, as Xiaohei only had one woof, and Xiang Beifei needed to analyze its tone and combine it with Xiaohei's body language to figure it out. You're wagging your tail so energetically. Tail wagging, wag, which rhymes with handsome. Oh, does that mean you're saying I'm handsome? Xiang Beifei asked seriously. Xiaohei stared at Xiang Beifei with a confused expression. Well then, I'll take your tail wagging as a compliment for my handsomeness from now on, Xiang Beifei declared cheerfully. Xiaohei extended a paw toward the clock on the table, then pointed his paw at Xiang Beifei's face. One paw, clock, face. Oh, are you gesturing that looking at my face? I seem like a handsome and talented man, Xiang Beifei pondered and said. Xiaohei. Learning Xiaohei's language wasn't too hard. Xiang Beifei understood what Xiaohei could understand, but Xiang Beifei couldn't understand Xiaohei's barks, so Xiang Beifei tried a different approach. He would say something and let Xiaohei translate it using his barks. Praise me for being handsome in your bark language, Xiang Beifei said. Xiaohei, hurry up. I need to learn your bark language. This is a very serious matter, Xiang Beifei insisted solemnly. Xiaohei, looking disgusted and reluctant, barked, woof woof woof. As this bark language was spoken, the ability to learn by analogy added something to Xiang Beifei's mind, as if some barriers had been broken through. He sorted out the meaning of Xiaohei's barks. Xiaohei's bark language had only one sound, but depending on the speed and tone of the barks, as well as the pauses between barks, it conveyed different meanings. So, their conversation became quite peculiar. So, now that I've activated the Horn constellation, if I want to gain another ability, I need to light up the Arrogant Dragon constellation next? Woof woof woof. The Arrogant Dragon constellation has 4 stars. Does that mean I need to obtain 4 rewards from other people's systems? Any reward will do. Woof woof woof. Oh, it has to be a reward from a system of the same realm as mine or higher. Then why don't I just not upgrade and participate in other people's system tasks as a normal person? Woof woof woof. Oh, that won't work? Xiang Beifei basically understood what Xiaohei meant. This world was filled with abundant spiritual energy, and being able to absorb spiritual energy to improve oneself was key to advancing one's realm. For cultivators wanting to absorb this spiritual energy, progressing in cultivation was very slow if relying solely on oneself. The existence of the system was to make everyone's cultivation faster. The system each person awakened would assess the host's situation and assist people in this world in different ways. No matter what profession they were in, the system could help them achieve their goals faster and become stronger. In the world of systems, spiritual energy was key. When other people advanced their realms, they could rely on the system to extract spiritual energy and convert it into system rewards. For example, a chi-controlling pill could directly advance someone to the chi-controlling realm, skipping the cultivation process. But that didn't work for Xiang Beifei. Rewards that directly increased cultivation were ineffective on him. This meant that even if he had taken the chi-controlling pill just now, he wouldn't have been able to reach the chi-controlling realm. He needed to lay a solid foundation, step by step, through his own cultivation to improve his realm. Luckily, all system rewards could be viewed as a type of spiritual chi crystal in Xiaohei's eyes. Whether it was chi-controlling pills or soul-condensing pills, once obtained, Xiaohei could turn them into spiritual chi crystals to help Xiang Beifei. Each constellation in that book actually needed to be activated with spiritual chi crystals. Xiaohei would convert the system rewards that Xiang Beifei obtained back into spiritual chi crystals, infuse them into the spirit gathering book, then light up constellations to obtain different abilities. However, since different constellations required different intensities of spiritual energy to activate their abilities, many powerful abilities in the spirit gathering book required a higher level of cultivation to use, so Xiang Beifei had to take it slow. To Xiang Befe, it didn't matter what others' rewards were. He saw them all as spiritual qi crystals. The book provided him with a cultivation technique called the 2-qi formula, which is chaotic yin and yang. This technique was extremely complex, mysterious, and profound. Xiang Befe pondered it for a long time before realizing that cultivation was not something that could be accomplished overnight. So far, Xiaohe was still better than him. There are gains and losses. Xiang Befe was in good spirits. This afternoon was a holiday, and he needed to spend time practicing the 2-qi formula. Luha High School, Principal's office. Strange. Is that boy really just an N-level system? Li Nanqing sat in his chair, staring at the thunderstone in front of him with a furrowed brow. This thunderstone was precisely the one that malfunctioned that morning during the test. Li Nanqing's memory of the incident was still fresh because the thunderstone had lit up with a golden-yellow glow indicating a UR-level system, causing him an indescribable excitement. After all, that was a legendary UR system. If a student under his supervision had awakened a UR-level system, then their Luha High School would become famous throughout the entire Jiuzhou education sector. But most importantly, his Confucian Sage Systems tasks were becoming increasingly difficult to complete, and his cultivation had been stagnant for quite some time. If a UR system awakener emerged from his school and he properly nurtured this talented student to make a name for themselves, he too would step into a new realm. Unfortunately, it ended up being just a false alarm. He had already checked once in the morning, finding no response from the thunderstone and thinking it really was broken, but after the system awakening ceremony, the more he thought about it, the more he felt something was amiss, so he took the thunderstone to check it again. Li Nanqing reached out and touched the thunderstone, his hand shimmering with a strange light, and his spiritual power entered the thunderstone. 1 minute later, zap! The previously inert thunderstone suddenly sparked with blue electricity. Electric sparks joyfully danced over the thunderstone, crackling pleasantly and crisply. Li Nanqing's expression faltered. This thunderstone. The thunderstone isn't broken. His heart started pounding again. Could it be? Li Nanqing hastily took out a glass jar from the cabinet behind him. The glass jar was tightly sealed, with blue lightning occasionally flickering inside. Thunderstone is a type of high-tech product, with its energy derived from the Outer Realms wilderness. This kind of lightning is common in the Outer Realms wilderness and is not hard to collect. Every school has a substantial reserve of it. When the Thunderstone's energy used to awaken system talents is depleted, it needs to be recharged with this backup energy. Li Nanqing inserted the glass jar into the groove of the Thunderstone and gave it a twist, causing the Thunderstone to immediately tremble into action. Were the Thunderstone restored to its original state? Could it really have run out of power? Li Nanqing muttered to himself. This morning, before the awakening ceremony, he made sure to charge all the Thunderstones. One Thunderstone was supposed to awaken 100 students, and there were about 50 people in each class. One Thunderstone per class? It shouldn't have been possible for the Thunderstone's energy to run out under normal circumstances. Li Nanqing looked at his Confucian Sage System interface and said, "Pull up Xiang Befei's data for me. Let's see his seat number." The Confucian Sage System stored all student data from Li Nanqing's school, including Xiang Beifei's enrollment information. Soon, a line appeared on the system interface. Xiang Befe, N-level system awakener, class seat number 37. Was he the 37th to be tested in their class? Then it couldn't have been him who depleted the Thunderstone's energy. The more Li Nanqing thought about it, the more bewildered he became. Could it be that his system level is too powerful, exceeding what the Thunderstone can handle? This thought popped into Li Nanqing's mind, but he quickly dismissed his own guess. No, the most powerful talent systems are of the UR level. It should not be due to this reason. Li Nanqing was very certain of this. His Confucian Sage System was extremely special and could completely discern the system talent level of each student. He reviewed the system values in the Confucian Sage System today. Student Lu Chenro, awakened S-level talent, your prestige plus 1,000. Student Zhu Jing, awakened S-level talent, your prestige plus 1,000. Student Zhang Tian, awakened R-level talent, your prestige plus 100. Student Xiang Befe, awakened N-level talent, your prestige plus 10. The prestige points Xiang Beifei added to Li Nanxing's Confucian sage system were only 10. This indicates that Xiang Beifei indeed only awakened to the most ordinary N-level system. Could it really just be a misunderstanding? Li Nanxing frowned. He couldn't figure it out and could only attribute it to some fluke. In the school he managed, every student who awakened to a system would add prestige points to him. He had worked hard his whole life, becoming a high school principal, all for these prestige points. The higher the realm, the more prestige points required to advance. And although today he awakened 21 S-level talent students and over 100 R-level ones, it was still far from enough to promote him to the next realm. The more students the school had, the more system values they would add to him. However, the Zhuzhou Alliance is very strict about education. It is not so easy to expand student enrollment. Thus, he could only focus on improving student quality, trying his best to cultivate them so they could be successful in the future. Generally speaking, even if many years have passed since a student graduated, making a name for themselves would still add to his prestige. Those with S-level potential are naturally extraordinary, but there are also many N-level students who have risen above to become exceptional individuals. His many years of experience in education had taught him this truth, so he wouldn't look down on any student with poor grades, trying to treat everyone equally. For him, the ideal scenario would be for every student who graduates from Luha High School to become an elite in the future. I really wish he had a UR-level talent. Li Nanxing looked at Xiang Beifei's data with regret in his heart. An emergence of a student with UR-level talent would add at least 1,000,000 prestige points to him, and the system reward would probably be unprecedentedly generous. Sensing the spiritual energy of this world seemed not difficult for Xiang Beifei. He circulated the chaos yin-yang formula once, and a faint trace of spiritual power flowed vaguely within his body. This spiritual power spread throughout the meridians of his entire body, feeling his constitution and making him feel rejuvenated. Is this the qi-controlling realm? Xiang Beifei stood up, stretching lazily. It had taken him about 10 hours to step into the qi-controlling realm through his own cultivation. The qi-controlling realm is the foundation for cultivators. For those with S-rank systems, usually their first task would allow them to step into the qi-controlling realm. People with R-rank and N-rank systems who are willing to work hard on their tasks can also become qi-controlling practitioners within a few months. Unless it's a system with unreasonably difficult tasks, normally anyone could reach the qi-controlling realm within a year. However, most people began to show disparities after entering the qi-controlling realm. Many might remain at the early stage of the qi-controlling realm for their entire lives, or it might take them 10 years to reach the middle stage, depending on the difficulty of the system's tasks. Xiang Beifei looked out the window, and it was already dark. He had been cultivating from yesterday afternoon until night. He walked out of the bedroom and found that his grandfather had already gone to sleep but had left him dinner kept warm in the rice cooker. Xiang Qingde knew that Xiang Beifei had just awakened his system and needed to explore it, so he didn't disturb him. Xiang Beifei hurried through his dinner, then went straight to sleep. The next morning, Xiang Qingde, as usual, made breakfast and then went to the market. After breakfast, Xiang Beifei walked toward school. Along the way, he observed the systems of the people he passed. He liked to watch everyone's systems. Many of them were quite interesting, and although they didn't possess much combat power, they could still achieve success. Like the N-level internet celebrity system, its host was a beauty with a chin sharp enough to crack walnuts. The system's task was to increase her strength based on the number of followers, and currently, she had only reached 20,000 followers. When passing by the hospital, some doctors who had just started their shifts were at the entrance, and although they were not yet in lab coats, Xiang Beifei could identify them in the crowd at a glance. A young man with glasses hurriedly alighted from the bus, and he had awakened the live surgery system, whose ultimate task was to become a leading figure in the medical field. The systems of the other doctors mostly related to the medical field, such as the skillful healer system and the strongest dentist system. After arriving at school, Xiang Beifei went up the stairs and saw a familiar person at the entrance on the upper floor. It was Chenro, the genius girl who was the first to awaken an S-rank system yesterday. Chenro had awakened the backup snatch system. Every backup she found and interacted with would grant her the backup's power. At that moment, her task interface showed that she already had 21 backups. What a powerful social butterfly! Xiang Befe couldn't help but admire in secret. In just one afternoon and evening, Chenro had gained so many backups. He wondered where she went yesterday for the encounter. Chenro looked frail and quiet, seemingly harmless, and her pitiful big eyes made others feel very protective. Nobody could associate her with the word scheming. At this moment, she was probably looking for her 22nd backup. Xiang Beifei glanced toward the boy talking with Chenro. The boy was handsome and somewhat famous as the heartthrob of Class 5, known as Xiao Sa, and was a notable figure in their year. Xiao Sa had a handsome and spirited look, with a high-nose bridge and a striking appearance that drew attention in any crowd. His family was wealthy, he wore designer clothes, and he was eloquent, very popular among the girls. The two leaned against the banister, the morning breeze teasing their hair, and the rising sun shone on them, outlining their figures in a fresh and gentle light. "Why do you always look at me like that?" Chenro lowered her head, her face slightly red. Xiao Sa smiled gently. "You should ask yourself why you are so pretty that I can't take my eyes off you." His voice was low and rich, with an irresistible magnetism. Chenro's face was now completely flushed. She covered her face with her hands, sneaking a glance at Xiao Sa through the gaps between her fingers, then quickly covered her eyes again. She looked like a girl, naive to the ways of the world, suddenly pursued and somewhat at a loss. "How do I know that you are telling the truth?" Chenro asked shyly. Xiao Sa stretched out his hand and held Chenro's palm, his eyes bright with her reflection, as if she were his whole world. "The morning sun is so warm, yet it doesn't compare to your smile. How could I deceive you?" He slightly leaned toward Chenro, whispering softly, "Will you be my girlfriend, please?" The simple and honest whisper echoed in Chenro's ears. To a girl, it was all about a sense of security. Chenro seemed very conflicted as she shook her head, saying, "I'm about to graduate, and I want to focus on my studies and get into a good university." "Is that so?" Xiao Sa seemed a bit disappointed. Chenro lowered her voice, looked up into Xiao Sa's eyes, thinking he was going to give up, and then hastily added, "But if you can wait for me after graduation, I will consider it." Xiao Sa, hearing Chenro's words, smiled, a smile with a contagious quality, as refreshing as a spring breeze. "Okay, I can wait for you. Even if it takes forever, I will wait." Beifei was dumbstruck hearing the two's romantic exchange. Such green, straightforward love. Two young hearts, creating brilliant sparks, heart-wrenchingly beautiful. Had it not been for Beifei seeing Chenro's system panel rapidly increasing. "You've gained an S-tier backup. Backup value +1. You've conversed with an S-tier backup. You've snatched the backup's communication skill. Your communication skill +20. You shook hands with an S-tier backup. You've snatched the backup's arm strength. Your arm strength +20. Xiao Sa was clearly an S-tier systems awakener. No doubt, this S-tier backup was powerful. Just yesterday, a normal boy had been snatched by Chenro and only gave 1 point, while Xiao Sa could add 20 points. No wonder Chenro approached Xiao Sa. Beifei shifted his gaze from Chenro's system, looking toward Xiao Sa's system. Host, Xiao Sa. S-tier, bootlicker system. Stage, early chi controlling. Xiao Sa's system panel was also increasing rapidly. You've successfully captured the heart of S-tier talent Chenro, gaining her favor. You shook hands with Chenro. You've snatched her poise, your poise +20. You complimented Chenro, you've snatched her charm, your charm +20. Beifei glanced at Xiao Sa, then Chenro, and was dumbfounded. The two systems, one a backup system, the other a bootlicker system. Mutual, snatching, such plain love yet so moving. It brings tears to one's eyes. It seems that my idea yesterday was wrong. Xiang Beifei sighed. Being a bootlicker doesn't necessarily mean you end up with nothing. As long as you have the system, you can lick your way to a bright universe. Xiao Sa and Lu Chenro, both well-known figures in their grade, had both awakened S-level systems yesterday and were widely known. These two were definitely in the spotlight now. But Lu Chenro didn't agree to be with Xiao Sa because she had to play the long game, fishing for big fish. Her system was designed to find backups, not a real boyfriend. If she had immediately agreed to be with Xiao Sa and they had confirmed their relationship, other righteous boys would recoil in fear, hindering her backup hunting. However, if she kept the relationship ambiguous, just teasing him and making all the boys think they still had a chance, she could fulfill her system's tasks. Lu Chenro was masquerading as the innocent girl, reaping her backups. So, when S-level talent Xiao Sa approached her today, she agreed without much thought. But she probably didn't realize that Xiao Sa had his own agenda too. Xiao Sa's awakened system was the S-level bootlicker system. Lu Chenro was a girl with high talent and good looks. He didn't hesitate at all and went straight for the lick. Everyone could only see their own system and had no way of seeing others. So Lu Chenro and Xiao Sa were both unaware of each other's systems. Thus, they hadn't yet realized what was happening to them. After all, it was a consensual deal, both aiming for their tasks, no debts owed. I really hope those two get together. Xiang Beifei was eager to see how their systems would play out. What each seized from the other was different, and it seemed like their systems had not recognized that the other system had plundered some qualities from their hosts. There were no prompts about this. If they were together, one madly licking, the other playing hard to get, who would win in the end? Xiang Beifei was contemplating this when Lu Chenro and Xiao Sa parted with longing looks, glancing back 3 steps and swaying heads every 5 as they headed to their respective classrooms. At the corner, Lu Chenro happened to bump into Xiang Beifei. Her heart suddenly skipped. Hey, isn't that Xiang Beifei from Class 7? Lu Chenro took a second look at Xiang Beifei. Yesterday, when the Thunderstone incident occurred, Xiang Beifei had become famous throughout the school. Everyone knew that Xiang Beifei's Thunderstone had emitted a golden glow symbolic of the UR level. The moment the glow appeared, the whole school was watching, thinking that a peerless genius was about to emerge at Luha High School. Everyone was quickly inquiring about who this person was. But it turned out to be a misunderstanding. Everyone harbored a schadenfreude attitude towards Xiang Beifei. After all, no one wanted others to have a better awakened talent than theirs. In the end, Xiang Beifei had awakened the weakest N-level system, bringing some balance to everyone's feelings. And thus, the name Xiang Beifei was also memorably etched into their minds. Lu Chenro recognized Xiang Beifei and thought deprecatingly that he was only an N-level awakener. After all, an S-level like Xiao Sa had a much stronger plundering ability compared to an N-level awakener. However, considering that she was still a novice, she shouldn't be too picky. A mosquito's leg is still meat after all. Yes, right. Don't dismiss any potential backups. Yesterday he went through a great upheaval in his life, and today his mood must be quite down. If I show some kindness now, I could probably turn him into my backup with just a few words. Lu Chenro pondered internally. Anyone who experienced what Xiang Beifei went through would hardly remain calm, thinking they were about to become a peerless genius, stepping into the spotlight of a life's peak, only to be knocked back down to square one. Those with unstable minds would probably go mad. Even if not mad, the mind might become hazy. So now must be his weakest moment in terms of mental defense. If I comfort him, he might end up overflowing with gratitude and start to admire me from the bottom of his heart, eventually becoming truly devoted as a backup. I would have one more target to plunder. Good morning, Xiang Beifei. Lu Chenro gave Xiang Beifei an innocent smile. You recognize me? Xiang Beifei asked, puzzled. Who in the school doesn't know you? Lu Chenro replied. Oh, is that so? Xiang Beifei suddenly realized. It seems I really have become famous. Probably a whole bunch of people are waiting to see me make a fool of myself. No problem, just stay steady. Don't panic. Lu Chenro earnestly said. The ordeal you went through yesterday must have been very upsetting. I sincerely hope our school can produce a UR-level genius, so he can set a benchmark for us all, becoming a role model for everyone to follow. Sincerely hope my foot. You're right, Xiang Befe responded nonchalantly. But don't be discouraged. The principal said yesterday that there are countless examples of N-level awakeners turning the tables. With perseverance, determination, hope for the future, and a positive approach, you can definitely achieve great things. Lu Chenro's voice was potent and inspiring. Xiang Beifei paused. He understood. This girl wants to make me her backup? Lu Chenro spoke so earnestly, and if Xiang Beifei couldn't see other people's system information, he would have almost believed her. But what's in it for me to become your backup? Xiang Beifei checked the other system rewards. The rewards need to entice me before I consider cooperating and becoming your potential backup. Otherwise, I'll just end up being plundered of various powers by you for nothing. What a loss. On Lu Chenro's system panel, there was the next phase's target and reward. Backup value reaches 30. Receive an S-level agility secret manual which enhances bodily agility. The subsequent plundering of the backup's agility ability value increases by 1 point. So by increasing the amount I plunder from 1 point of agility to 2 points? Xiaohe, can this agility secret manual unlock a constellation? Xiang Beifei looked at Xiaohe on his shoulder. Others couldn't see Xiaohe, and he could communicate with Xiaohe in his mind. Woof, woof. Xiaohe barked softly in denial. Having learned Xiaohe's dog language, Xiang Beifei could now translate it into comprehensible language in his mind. So, this reward is useless? Xiang Beifei felt somewhat disappointed, because to unlock the next constellation, he needed a higher strength of spiritual chi crystal, meaning the rewards from others needed to be higher too. If Xiang Beifei were to unlock the first constellation, this manual might suffice, but to unlock the second constellation, Lu Chenro's manual clearly isn't up to par. That's unfortunate. Then, can I learn this secret manual? Xiang Beifei asked again. After all, it's an S-level manual that improves bodily agility. Woof, 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 woof. Xiaohe barked cheerfully. Xiang Beifei understood. This thing wasn't suitable for him, but he could collect all these rewards and convert them into spiritual chi crystals. As long as he has enough spiritual chi crystals, he could unlock the constellations. This actually isn't too bad. However, if he had to cooperate and become her backup, his body's various qualities would be plundered by the other party. Xiang Beifei was pondering whether this exchange was worth it. He didn't have much cultivation anyway, and being plundered by Lu Chenro of those powers felt like a loss. At this moment, Lu Chenro spoke again. Xiang Beifei, you must not give up hope. Keep pushing, and if you encounter any difficulties, feel free to come to me. Lu Chenro had already lowered her stance significantly, constantly watching her system panel. I've been so gentle and considerate, so why haven't you become my backup yet? You fool. Admire me quickly. I am running out of time. She was getting impatient. If it weren't for getting through the newbie period, she wouldn't bother talking to such an N-level person. Xiang Beifei then asked Xiaohe, how much power does this plundering equate to? How much power do I have for her to plunder? Xiaohe said, according to the other system conversion, the strength of an ordinary person is about 500 points. Chi controlling period is about 1,000 points. 1,000 points, losing 1 point doesn't hurt at all. Then, can the power that was plundered be recovered? Xiang Beifei asked. Yes, but the spiritual chi crystal I swallowed yesterday has leftovers, which can be converted into 300 system points. You can use those to offset the loss? Xiaohe woofed. All right then. Since that's the case, I might as well go along with it. Thank you, Chenro. I didn't expect you to care about me so much. Xiang Beifei looked at Lu Chenro, his face sincere. He had already confirmed that he could choose independently whether to participate in someone else's tasks. Lu Chenro's system panel displayed a line of text. The other party has expressed gratitude to you. You have gained a potential backup. Backup value +1. Please work hard to develop him into your official backup. You conversed with a potential backup, your communication skills were plundered from the other party, your communication skills +1. Where? Where? We are all classmates. Mutual help is natural. Chenro gave Xiang Befe a gentle and thoughtful smile, but a hint of scorn flashed in the depths of her eyes. Humph, if it wasn't for the system, would I care about you, an N-level awakener? Don't even look in the mirror. I, an S-level genius girl, am out of your league. You pathetic thing, being sold and still clueless. Chenro sneered disdainfully in her heart, but outwardly she remained demure and graceful. Potential backup only meant that there was a chance to become a backup. This relationship was unstable and not much ability was plundered. Any boy could become her potential backup. But an official backup was the target she wanted to develop. Her backup value had already reached 23, just 7 more backups to go before she could get that cultivation technique. With the task at hand urgent, she had to quickly look for her next target. Xiang Befe shrugged his shoulders. He clearly knew what Chenro was thinking. Such outwardly sweet girls were deeply scheming. But he didn't mind. Once Chenro found another 7 backups, that cultivation technique would be his. With her ability, she should probably finish today, right? By the way, Xiaohe, if she completes the task and I'm not around her, will the reward still come to me? Xiang Befe asked. Xiaohe wagged his tail, carefully woofing. Within a certain distance. Express delivery is postage free. Awesome. Postage free, those 2 words sounded so comforting. Xiang Befe couldn't help but think of every time he shopped online. The same product? One store sold for 89 yuan but added 10 yuan shipping. Another sold for 99 yuan but with postage included. He would definitely choose the latter. Not for anything else. Just for postage free. Truly. Xiang Befe quickly arrived at his classroom. There were already about a dozen people in the classroom, all of whom had awakened their systems yesterday. Most of them looked excited, pondering how to complete their tasks. But some had furrowed brows, seemingly finding their system tasks quite challenging. Xiang Beifei's deskmate, Lu Zhe, had awoken to the R-level dungeon system, a video game-type system, which he would complete by clearing game levels. This was a virtual game where he would be taken by the system into relevant game scenarios. For each level cleared, the system would provide corresponding rewards. As a beginner, he had 10 lives per day. When Xiang Befe checked the other system panel, he found that Lu Zhe had already cleared 6 levels. But he had used up all his lives for the day, looking like he had stayed up all night gaming hard. He was now somewhat troubled, as the rewards from clearing 6 levels were far from enough to help him enter the chi-controlling realm. Xiang Befe was wondering whether he could participate in this kind of system himself. It wouldn't be bad if he had the chance to help him play the game as well. He wanted to understand the characteristics of each system, so as to have a better grounding in the world governed by these systems. However, his relationship with Lu Zhe wasn't too bad, so he wasn't going to scheme for Lu Zhe's system rewards, and he would return them even if he did obtain them. Morning. Kong Shoin yawned as he sat down next to Xiang Befe, shoved his school bag into his drawer, and lay down on the desk sighing. Morning. Xiang Befe looked at Kong Shoin's system panel and saw that he had finally completed a task, which meant that he had lost 5 strands of hair. Of course, compared to 150,000 strands of hair, this was just a drop in the ocean. You look out of sorts. Did you stay up late? Xiang Befe asked. Under his dark circles, Kong Shoin said, You would never believe what I did last night. He tugged at his thick hair, both sentimental and exhausted. He still couldn't accept the fact that he had awakened the bald system. Definitely doing a system task. It's the same for everyone, Xiang Befe said. In fact, he had slept quite soundly last night. Yeah, I'm so tired. Was up all night studying. Kong Shoin said listlessly. Xiang Befe looked at Kong Shoin's system shop, where the hair Kong Shoin lost while doing his tasks could be used as currency to be exchanged. 1 strand of hair could be exchanged for a drop of stimulating elixir. 5 strands of hair could be exchanged for a chi-controlling pill. And Kong Shoin had already stepped into the chi-controlling realm. S-class systems are indeed powerful. So far, all the S-class system awakeners Xiang Befe had encountered had become cultivators in the qi-controlling realm within a day, including Lu Chenro, Xiao Sa, and Kong Shoin. As for the class president, Zhu Jing, Xiang Befe glanced around the classroom and spotted Zhu Jing sitting in the front row. Yesterday, this guy had tried to fish for appreciation by showing off in a phony display, and Xiang Befe, unable to watch any longer, happily accepted his system rewards. But he was suddenly surprised to find that Zhu Jing had also stepped into the qi-controlling realm. Without his qi-controlling pills, how could he have reached the qi-controlling realm? Xiang Befe couldn't help but look at the task Zhu Jing's system had posted. Record a wild video and upload it, achieving 500 likes on social networking sites. By now, Zhu Jing's appreciation value had reached 619. What kind of video could have gotten him 619 likes overnight? Xiang Befe was very curious. He clicked on the video that the other party had uploaded to the system panel and glanced at it, then froze for a moment. In the video, Zhu Jing was dressed in black women's clothing, with a thick layer of foundation, puckering his lips alluringly in front of the camera, blinking his long eyelashes, and using a voice changer to sing in a sweet, girlish tone, flying to someone else's bed. Ah, this was wild enough. Xiang Befe didn't continue watching. He needed to wash his eyes. Normally, this guy had the image of a tall and strong guy, but now he had made this kind of video. Befe felt that he could never look at this guy the same way again. Moreover, judging by Zhu Jing's demeanor, he didn't seem to feel ashamed. On the contrary, he seemed to enjoy it. People's hearts are unpredictable. Zhu Jing had awakened the S-level appreciation system, which couldn't be manipulated with fake likes. It had to be calculated based on real people. This bizarre video, once posted, amassed over 600 likes overnight. And Zhu Jing's appreciation value was also a type of currency. He used 500 likes to exchange for a qi-controlling pill in his system store. Thus, Zhu Jing failed his first mission, but still stepped into the qi-controlling realm with his second mission. For those with S-level systems, completing initial tasks was much simpler than for ordinary people. This was also why those awakeners with higher talents had greater achievements in the future. Xiang Befe shifted his gaze back. He was tempted to give Zhu Jing's video another like, as that would mean the next reward would probably be shipped his way again. But Befe restrained himself. Because if Xiang Befe liked the video, Zhu Jing's system would receive a notification. If a reward disappeared once, it could be said that there was a system error, and Zhu Jing wouldn't associate it with Xiang Befe. But if it happened often, Zhu Jing would definitely notice that each disappearance involved Xiang Befe, and he would surely become suspicious. You don't always have to fleece the same sheep. Give other sheep some chances. Or, wait for another season to fleece. Xiang Befe shifted his focus back. He was communicating with Xiao, while on the side, Kong Shoin had already started snoring on the desk, his snoring loud due to lack of sleep from staying up late the previous night. The class bell rang, and the homeroom teacher, Yang Hua, walked into the classroom, which quickly quieted down. With this silence, Kong Shoin's snoring became quite jarring. Yang Hua frowned, a flash of anger in his eyes. Someone dared to sleep during his class. This was a perfect opportunity for criticism. However, when his gaze landed on Kong Shoin, a strange expression flickered across his eyes. At this moment, everyone in the class was looking at Kong Shoin, some gloating to see how the homeroom teacher would criticize him. Xiang Befe nudged Kong Shoin with his elbow, quietly reminding him that class had started. Kong Shoin groggily opened his eyes, saw the homeroom teacher, startled, and quickly straightened up. But what Yang Hua said next surprised everyone. Kong Shoin, you must be very tired from last night? It's fine if you feel tired, you can sleep a bit more during class, no big deal. Yang Hua said to Kong Shoin with care. Kong Shoin's mouth fell open, his eyes almost popping out, thinking he had heard wrong. The homeroom teacher actually allowing him to sleep in his own class? The other students also looked envious and jealous. Actually, they probably also understood why the homeroom teacher's attitude changed so quickly. Kong Shoin's grades were poor, but he was an S-rank system awakener. Kong Shoin and Xiang Befe had always been at the bottom of their class, with extremely poor academic performance. Yang Hua often criticized them to increase his own system's value. Just Xiang Befe and Kong Shoin alone had added who knows how many prestige points to Yang Hua. But today, Yang Hua found Kong Shoin utterly pleasing to the eye. The reason was nothing else, but that yesterday Kong Shoin had awakened an S-rank system, which had increased his prestige value by 500 points. An increase of 500 points at once was much faster than gaining 1 point at a time through criticism. The R-rank Master Dao system allowed teachers to increase their prestige value not just through criticizing students, but also when students felt grateful or admired him. However, Yang Hua found that relying on gratitude and admiration to increase prestige value was too slow, so he preferred to establish his authority through criticism. But now facing S-rank system awakener Kong Shoin, he couldn't criticize him anymore. An S-rank system awakener was bound to achieve great things in the future. Yang Hua himself was merely an R-rank system awakener. It was only a matter of time before Kong Shoin surpassed him. Therefore, Yang Hua needed to change his tactics. He planned to make Kong Shoin feel grateful to him. Yang Hua continued to speak to Kong Shoin. Kong Shoin, you are now an S-rank system awakener. You should listen to the lessons carefully. I will rearrange a seat for you. How about you sit next to Zhu Jing? Yang Hua was very approachable as he took care of Kong Shoin. Kong Shoin was stunned. His homeroom teacher, who criticized him daily, was suddenly so concerned about him, making him feel very uneasy.
No.
No need, Kong Shoin hurriedly said. He had always disliked Zhu Jing's style. This guy often mocked him and Xiang Befe. They simply didn't get along. How can that be? Sitting together with Xiang Befe will severely hold you back. You should sit with Zhu Jing. That way you can push each other to improve. Both of you have S-rank talents and can share your insights. Yang Hua said thoughtfully, you have a boundless future ahead, and you must not be influenced by Xiang Befe. I need to take responsibility for you guys. He's hopeless, not at all in your league. Just thinking of Xiang Befe made Yang Hua angry. His own system had malfunctioned yesterday, but aside from that, he had thought Xiang Befe was a hidden talent about to awaken the incredibly rare UR system. He had even prepared to increase his prestige value by hundreds of thousands of points. But it had all turned out to be a false hope. This made him very dissatisfied. If Xiang Befe had awakened the UR system, he definitely would have welcomed him with open arms, and he wouldn't have said a word even if Xiang Befe skipped classes. But Xiang Befe was just an N rank. Noticing something off about Xiang Beifei's hair, Yang Hua exclaimed, Xiang Befe, I told you to get a haircut yesterday. Why haven't you done it yet? You have criticized Xiang Befe. Teacher prestige value +1. Xiang Befe touched his hair. Everyone had just awakened their systems yesterday. How could he remember that? Xiang Befe listened indifferently to Yang Hua's words, said nothing, and just quietly stared at Yang Hua's system interface. Mission target. Reach 15,000 teacher prestige value. Exchangeable for 1 Qi and blood pill. Remark. Qi and blood pill temporarily enhances one's strength to combat individuals 1 minor stage higher. Now that's a nice item. Free shipping too? Xiang Befe muttered to himself. Yang Hua was still waiting for Kong Shoin's response when Kong Shoin, surprised by Yang Hua's sudden change of attitude toward him, had yet to recover. After a moment, Kong Shoin shook his head. No need, teacher. I'm used to sitting at the back, and it's quite nice sitting with Xiang Befe. Yang Hua glanced at Xiang Befe and continued. You and he are not on the same level. Sitting together won't do you any good. Kong Shoin shook his head again. No need. Thank you for your kindness, teacher. But really, it's not necessary. After saying that, he sat down and gave Xiang Befe a thumbs-up gesture. Seeing that Kong Shoin had declined, Yang Hua felt slightly displeased but did not show it further and said, Xiang Befe, you should feel lucky that someone with an S-class talent is willing to sit with you. But you should be aware of not influencing him negatively. I will keep an eye on you. Xiang Befe didn't mind and just quietly looked at his book. As usual, before starting the class, Yang Hua liked to point out others' faults to increase his prestige value. He would overlook students with R-class systems and specifically target those with N-class for criticism. "Don't worry about him. I've got your back from now on," Kong Shoin said quietly. Xiang Befe smiled. Kong Shoin had grown up with him since childhood. Although Kong Shoin had awakened an S-class system and had shot straight to the top, he did not disdain him, an N-class awakener. Instead, he was quite righteous. Yesterday, he had even planned to give Xiang Befe the awakening elixir he got. Such a person was indeed worthy of true friendship. "You just keep pushing," Xiang Befe said. "Let's push together. I'm not the same as before. I'll let you in on a little secret. I've reached the chi-controlling state, and I'm now a formal cultivator. If anyone bullies you, just come to me. And when I make it big, I'll take you along for the ride," Kong Shoin declared boldly. "Okay." Xiang Befe nodded. He didn't tell Kong Shoin that he, too, an N-class system user, was a chi-controlling cultivator. After Yang Hua had gained a wave of prestige value, he finally started the lesson. Now that everyone has awakened their systems, and having had a half-day holiday yesterday, you all must have gained some understanding of your respective systems. How you complete the system tasks from now on is your choice. However, I want to emphasize one thing. Yang Hua cleared his throat and continued. Our alliance's college entrance exam is in July, and now it's May. With the exam 2 months away, you need to decide whether you want to apply to a liberal arts university or a martial arts university, which is very important. Those transformed by systems in order to survive in this boundless desolate land can cultivate with the help of their systems. Anyone who enters the chi-controlling state is called a cultivator. Cultivators are further divided into warriors and scholars. Since the types of systems vary, some systems lean toward martial prowess while others toward strategy. Therefore, after the college entrance exams, examinees can choose a martial arts or liberal arts university based on the characteristics of their systems. Martial arts universities emphasize practical combat. After graduating, one can pursue careers like pioneers and city defenders. Liberal arts universities, on the other hand, are more oriented toward various sectors of life, including business, medicine, or the service industry, including entertainment. In this world, the most revered are the warriors. A large part of this is because desolate beasts from outside the domain often attack human cities, and without warriors to respond, it would be hard for human society to remain secure. Thus, warriors hold a considerably high status. Of course, this doesn't mean that scholars aren't powerful. Many scholars' systems are also very strong, and their combat power is not less than that of warriors. Becoming a warrior or a scholar isn't a clear-cut distinction. It's just that when choosing a university, it's better to base your choice on your system. Because martial arts and liberal arts universities offer different training conditions. Relative to others, martial arts universities focus more on actual combat, providing more stringent teaching conditions, including training in the outer desolate lands. Whereas liberal arts universities offer fewer opportunities for combat, focusing more on the trivialities of daily life. Thus, their teaching conditions are more diversified. Only by choosing a university that matches the characteristics of your own system can you attend a truly good university. You have just awakened your systems. Over the next few days, you should carefully consider which area your system tends more toward. You must determine what general type your system is, and don't just impulsively decide it belongs to something like the plant industry and then go apply to a martial arts university, as it will only hinder your future. Yang Hua said sternly. Xiang Befe was reminded of his past world. This was somewhat similar to choosing a major during the college entrance exams back then. In the former world, there were no systems, and when choosing a major, many relied on their parents' suggestions. Some parents wished their children to pursue respectable professions like doctors, so they forced their children into medical studies. As a result, the children, having no interest in medicine, struggled through college and could only end up selling medications or changing careers after graduation. Also, some students couldn't get into the major they wanted and were adjusted to other majors. Facing a major they disliked and unable to meet the conditions to switch majors, they gave up on themselves, essentially equating graduation with unemployment. But in this system world, such problems would be much less common. Because everyone chooses their university based on the characteristics of their system, which creates a very purposeful approach, and parents would not force their children to apply for a major they dislike, that as long as the students themselves aren't stubborn, they would normally be able to get into a suitable university. Teacher, what if one can't discern whether their system is more suited to the liberal arts or the martial arts? Then what? Kong Shoin raised his hand and asked. Kong Shoin's bald system was S-rank, but his system did not readily indicate which path to take. It seemed viable for both the literary Dao and the martial Dao. Seeing that it was Kong Shoin who asked, Yang Hua explained patiently, "This is what I am going to talk about next. Each person must undergo a system school selection consultation. Starting today, the school will arrange experienced system counselors to help you understand your own systems on a one-on-one basis. You don't need to tell the counselors what your system is. You just need to ask them any questions you don't understand. Counselors will protect your privacy and won't leak any information about your consultation. You can rest assured about that. All participating counselors are discreet and will not delve into matters they are not supposed to ask about. However, you too must learn to weigh your questions carefully." Yang Hua's words prompted the entire class to start whispering among themselves. Everyone had only awakened their systems the day before, and many didn't fully understand what their systems were exactly. The system school selection consultation was undoubtedly a great help for these novices. In fact, many people's systems could directly determine the university they should choose. For instance, Wang Dan from their class, the owner of the flower cultivation system, she clearly knew that she must choose a liberal arts university, specifically one related to plant disciplines. And Wang Pengzi, with his Dance King system, had to opt for the College of Dance Arts within a liberal arts university. However, systems like Zhu Jing's appreciation system, Kong Shoin's bald system, Lu Chenro's backup system, and Xiao Sa's bootlicker system did not have a strict boundary. Whether walking the path of literary Dao or martial arts, they could each be used to complete missions. Thus, system school selection consultation primarily targets these undecided awakeners, helping them answer some questions and ascertain their future direction. Xiang Befe, is your system inclined more toward literary Dao or martial arts? Kong Shoin turned and asked. It's hard to say. Xiang Befe pondered. Having no system tied to him, choosing between literary Dao and martial arts made no difference to him. But since his parents were both pioneers, which means martial artists, if he had to choose, he could try a martial arts university. I'm also not sure, Kong Shoin said with great agony, clutching at his own hair, then said, Why don't you come with me? That way we can look out for each other. We'd better apply for martial arts university because the martial arts university's required entrance score is lower than that of the liberal arts university. I feel it'd be hard for us to attend a good liberal arts university with our grades. Your S-grade system gives you an added 50 points. Have some confidence in yourself. With my performance in cultural classes, even an added 50 points won't help. Kong Shoin lamented. That's not necessarily true. Their homeroom teacher, Yang Hua, said, having arrived at some point and heard their conversation. Individuals with S-grade systems, no matter how poor their grades, needn't worry about not having a university to attend. You can participate in autonomous recruitment of ordinary universities. As long as you pass, the grades from your cultural classes won't matter much. Really? Kong Shoin was very surprised. Yes, after all, those with S-grade are 1 in 100. The Alliance wouldn't let such talent go to waste. But for specific admission rules, you'll need to consult your counselor and can also contact the admissions office, sometimes even opting for an interview. Yang Hua was very patient with Kong Shoin, then glanced at Xiang Befe. In his view, Xiang Befe, an N-grade, failing his subjects, was beyond help. All morning, Xiang Befe reacquainted himself with everyone in his class and their systems. Some systems were quite concrete, like Yue from their class who awakened the R-grade director system, his ultimate task being to become a top director. He was currently wandering about with a smartphone, preparing to start filming small clips for quick-shake videos. Then there was a girl Xiang Befe hardly spoke to, named Chen Xiaolu, who awakened the R-grade Dong Shi effect system, capable of briefly imitating other people's abilities. In the class, the one nicknamed Silly Big Guy, Huang Han, had awakened an N-grade ghost capturing system, a rather peculiar one, as it required him to venture into various horror films to capture ghosts, which he could then summon for his use. Yet, everyone knew this guy was quite timid. The horror movie scenes the system transported him into felt very real to him. He had undertaken his first mission the previous night and seemed to have been terrified. However, these systems were still better than some like the dishwashing system or the flower cultivation system. System school selection consultation was arranged according to seat numbers, and every 5 students were sent in a batch, while others needed to solidly revise their cultural classes in the classroom. Xiang Befe was also studying. Before traversing to this time, the person named Xiang Befe had poor grades in cultural classes, but the current Xiang Befe was different. Learn by analogy was an extremely powerful learning ability. Anything, simply with a glance, could be computed in mind. In his previous life, he was quite devoted to his studies, and although the academic content here was not completely identical to that of his previous world, it was not very difficult to master. For him, using his cultural class grades to enter a good university gave him self-assurance. But which university should he choose? Xiang Beifei looked at the freshly distributed university enrollment manual. The Zhuzhou Alliance, divided into 9 provinces: Jizhou, Yenzhou, Qingzhou, Shuzhou, Yangzhou, Jingzhou, Yuzhou, Liangzhou, Yongzhou. The 9 provinces each possessed a top institution named after the province. Since Xiang Beifei's Luhe High School fell under the jurisdiction of Liangzhou, the most prestigious university, there was naturally Liangzhou University. It was a comprehensive university which further categorized into Liangzhou Martial Arts College and Liangzhou Literary Arts College. The situation in other provincial universities was the same, such as Jizhou University, Yenzhou University, Qingzhou University, etc. The 9 universities were Ivy League schools of the Alliance, each year setting extremely high admission scores. Apart from these 9 universities, there were other ones of smaller scale. These were less prestigious and had lower score thresholds. Almost all awakeners in the 9 elite universities are S-grade or above, truly a gathering of elites. Xiang Beifei mused on his future prospects. With only 2 months until the college entrance examination, he needed to determine his future direction. Having no system, if he needed to obtain someone else's system rewards, it seemed better to attend a university filled with S-grade elites. The rewards from S-grade systems were significantly substantial. With his current situation, theoretically, scores were not the issue. Yet, the tuition fees of these 9 universities were frighteningly expensive. A school year costing 100,000 in the currency of Zhuzhou Alliance. The educational conditions in the elite universities were top-notch, but correspondingly, to meet graduation requirements, many expenses were unavoidable. Xiang Beifei's family, living on the income from his grandfather selling vegetables, made merely 2,000 to 3,000 a month. Even with a pension, these expenses are still too great. Xiang Beifei frowned slightly at the thought of the 100,000 tuition fee. If he got into an elite university, his grandfather would certainly be ecstatic, even going as far as to sell everything to pay for his education. But he didn't want to burden his grandfather so greatly. It wasn't easy for the old man. Xiang Beifei needed to figure out how to earn money. Well, he thought, let's just cross the bridge when we come to it. After attending 2 more classes in the afternoon, it was Xiang Beifei's turn for system school selection consultation. Xiang Beifei and Kong Shoin made their way to the office together. He needed to inquire about things like student loans, as 100,000 was a significant expense. The location for system school selection consultation was the academic building, where quite a few students gathered, all exchanging thoughts with one another, most appearing very nervous. These were all novice awakeners. Even with systems, they couldn't guarantee full comprehension of their system's attributes. They still required help from others. The counselor responsible for system school selection consultation was one of 20 people, all of whom were teachers at Luhe High School, and each was assigned a separate small room. All system consultations were completely confidential. Besides the teachers, other students would not know. I haven't even figured out what questions to ask. Can you give me some advice? Kong Shoin said. tugging at his own hair. Since you're an S-level awakener, you can ask the counselor which direction your system should take. If you want to attend one of those 9 elite universities, how big are the chances? Xiang Befe suggested. Kong Shoin shook his head. I won't even consider those 9 elite universities. I've heard that only S-levels can get in, and even then, I'd be at the bottom. I'd rather try for other ordinary universities, preferably the same one as you. Universities were quite pragmatic, with the 9 elite universities feasting on S-level students first and leaving the rest for other universities to sip at the leftovers. Hence, apart from the 9 elite universities, S-level awakeners were rare in other ordinary universities. Kong Shoin had also thought about how his abilities would surely be trounced within elite universities. Then, attending an ordinary university, where being an S-level would definitely secure a higher status than in elite universities. Classmate Kong, don't be discouraged. We've just awakened our systems. How can we belittle ourselves? A familiar voice rang out behind them. Xiang Befe turned around to look. Huh, isn't that the person from this morning's delivery? Lu Chenro?
Kong Xuan reconnaissent de Liu Qianru.
Many people knew Lu Chenro not only because she was the first girl to awaken an S-level system, but also because she was the class belle of senior year 3, with many boys secretly in love with her. However, if Lu Chenro wanted to cultivate backups, she had to make contact with these talents. Sorry, I just happened to overhear your conversation, but I think, classmate Kong, you should have confidence in yourself. If you haven't even tried, how can you give up? Lu Chenro's voice was full of goodwill, and she even winked meaningfully at Kong Shoin. That's true. Kong Shoin's face turned slightly red. His grades were poor. Previously Lu Chenro and he were as distant as heaven and earth, and he could not aspire to reach her level. But unexpectedly, today Lu Chenro had taken the initiative to talk to him. He knew this was most likely because he had awakened an S-level system. Xiang Beifei raised an eyebrow. He obviously knew what Lu Chenro meant. She must have already inquired about the list of all 21 S-level system awakeners in the school, and Kong Shoin was certainly on her target list. As an S-level backup, Lu Chenro could gain much more attributes from than from R or N levels, snatching away 20 at a time. Lu Chenro naturally wouldn't let go of someone like Kong Shoin. Upon seeing Xiang Beifei, Lu Chenro also revealed a happy smile. Hello, Xiang Beifei. We meet again. Hello. Xiang Beifei nodded politely. No sooner had he finished speaking than Lu Chenro's system panel began to flicker. You greeted an N-level potential backup, and you have plundered the backup's social skills. Your social skills +1. That's just unreasonable. Xiang Beifei glanced at Lu Chenro's system panel, which now showed her backup value had reached 28. Seeing Lu Chenro, Kong Shoin appeared somewhat dazed, and he stammered, Chenro, did you also come to attend this consultation? Yes. I'm not very confident about my system and feel at a loss. Classmate Kong, could you give me some advice? Lu Chenro looked at Kong Shoin bashfully. Kong Shoin felt as if he was floating on air. This was the goddess of the grade. She was actually asking him, a student so poor in his studies it was a mess, for advice. Kong Shoin felt invigorated as though his spirits had multiplied 100-fold. Just as he was about to respond, Xiang Beifei interjected. It would be better to ask the counselor about that question. We can't answer it, Xiang Beifei said. N-level potential backup answered your question. Your social skills +1. Lu Chenro's system panel vibrated again. Damn it! Xiang Beifei couldn't help but mutter to himself. Just by answering a question, she could steal away someone's social skills. If a backup inflated her with chatter all day long, she could probably suck them dry. Even though as soon as Lu Chenro accumulates 30 backups, Xiang Beifei would receive an email, he couldn't let Kong Shoin become one of Lu Chenro's backups. He might not care about others, but he still needed to help Kong Shoin out. Just as Kong Shoin was about to say something, Xiang Beifei pushed him toward the other queue, urging, Hurry! It's your turn now. Consult the counselor well. I'll wait for you outside. A shadow crossed Lu Chenro's face. She had already inquired. Normally, Kong Shoin had poor grades, was carefree, didn't have a particularly sharp wits, and was an S-level awakener. People like him could easily be turned into backups with just a few words from her. But she didn't expect Xiang Befe to interfere. Never mind. I have plenty of chances. Chenro snorted coldly in her heart and looked at Xiang Befe again. Daring to mess up my plans? I'll plunder something from you first. She ran her fingers through her hair, her long strands fluttering in midair and the tips brushing against Xiang Beifei's cheek, leaving behind a faint fragrance. What a lovely day, Chenro said with a smile. Xiang Befe hummed non-committally. This time, the system didn't display anything. Chenro's eyebrows knit together as she gently said, "Tomorrow is May 20th, you know? Only 2 months left until the college entrance exam. The college entrance exam in the Zhuzhou Federation takes place in July. It's only May now." Seeing that Xiang Beifei wasn't responding, Chenro softly continued, "I just heard from classmates that May 20th is a very special day, but they talked so much and I really didn't get it. Xiang Beifei, do you know what 520 means?" "I know," Xiang Beifei replied. Playing with her fingernails, Chenro asked in an innocent voice, "Can you explain it to me then? I really want to know the meaning of 520. She looked like an innocent girl, her face full of curiosity. Xiang Beifei nodded seriously and said, No problem. Let me think. 520. 5 stands for 5 affirmatives. Affirming economic structural adjustments, affirming the duty of environmental governance, affirming the construction of ecological civilization, affirming precision poverty alleviation by the alliance, affirming Zhuzhou security guarantee. 2 stands for 2 must-haves. We must have both wealth symbolized by our mountains of gold and silver, and ecological beauty symbolized by clear waters and green mountains. 0 stands for zero tolerance towards illegal and criminal behavior. Championing uprightness is everyone's responsibility. The voice in which Xiang Beifei spoke was compelling and spirited. Chenro. She was completely flustered. What kind of answer was that? She had thought that this N-level backup would spout a bunch of affectionate nonsense, but she didn't expect him to come out with something like this, and it had totally baffled her. By the time she collected her thoughts, Xiang Beifei had already coolly and breezily turned and walked away.